Introduction: The Participatory Universe. For centuries, humanity has lived under a silent but absolute assumption, the belief that there is a world out there, solid, independent, and objective, that functions on its own. We have been taught that the universe is a pre-existing stage and that we are mere actors who arrived late to the play. Biological spectators of a cosmic drama we didn't write and cannot control. Under this paradigm, reality is an immovable rock, and you are a fragile organism trying to survive upon it. But what if I told you that this assumption is scientifically false? At the beginning of the 20th century, physics encountered an abyss that shattered our understanding of reality. Albert Einstein, disturbed by the new discoveries, even asked, "Does the moon only exist when I look at it?" What seemed like an absurd philosophical question turned out to be the master key to the cosmos. The most rigorous experiments in the history of science have confirmed a haunting truth. At the most fundamental level, matter does not exist as solid and defined objects. Before being observed, matter exists solely as probability waves, as mathematical ghosts floating in a field of infinite potential. This phenomenon is known as the observer effect. Science tells us that the act of measuring, the act of looking, of paying conscious attention, is not a passive recording of what is already there. It is an active act of creation. Your attention is the force that obliges the universe to make a decision. Your gaze collapses the wave of infinite possibilities into a single particle of reality. This means that you do not live in a mechanical universe. You live in a participatory universe. You are not separate from what you see. The observer and the observed are one and the same indivisible dance. This audiobook, The Power of the Observer Effect, is not a treatise of speculative philosophy or a collection of feel-good spiritual metaphors. It is a technical manual on the mechanics of creation. We are going to dissect the physics of your own consciousness. You will discover that, in this very instant, while you listen to these words, you are collapsing wave functions. Your brain is filtering an ocean of energy and solidifying it into what you call your life. The problem is that until today, you have been observing on autopilot. You have been using the most powerful tool in the universe to recreate your past, collapsing over and over again the same realities of limitation, stress, and routine, simply because that is where you place your focus. But that is about to change. In the coming hours, you will learn to reclaim command of your attention. You will learn to navigate quantum superposition, to hold uncertainty, and to consciously select which future you wish to materialize before it occurs. We will leave Newtonian victimhood behind to assume the radical responsibility of the quantum creator. Get ready to question everything you thought you knew about the solidity of the world. Reality is not something you find, it is something you define. Welcome to the laboratory of consciousness. The experiment begins now. Chapter 1. The Death of Objectivity. If we look out the window right now, our senses confirm a comforting and stable reality. We see trees that seem solid. We feel the weight of our body in the chair. We see the sun crossing the sky in a predictable trajectory. Our intuition screams a truth that seems unquestionable. The world is out there. We believe that objects have defined edges. We believe that space is an empty stage where things happen, and above all, we believe in objectivity. We believe that if we were to die this instant, the world would continue to exist exactly the same, with the same colors, the same sounds, and the same shapes, indifferent to our absence. This worldview, called local realism, is the foundation of our civilization, our economy, and our psychology. It gives us security, but it has a fundamental problem. It is a lie. What our senses perceive is not fundamental reality, it is a simplified user interface. And the physics of the last 100 years has proven, with brutal mathematical precision, that objectivity as we understand it is a cognitive illusion. To understand how to reclaim your power as a creator, we must first understand how we lost it. We must travel to the past to see how we became cogs in a machine, and then we must witness the exact moment that machine broke forever. The dream of reason, the clockwork universe. Our story of helplessness begins in 1687 with the publication of Principia Mathematica by Sir Isaac Newton. Newton was an unparalleled genius who achieved something that seemed like magic. He mathematized nature. He formulated precise laws governing the movement of objects, from apples falling from trees to planets orbiting the sun. The success of Newtonian physics was so resounding that it generated a philosophical paradigm that governed the human mind for 3 centuries: mechanistic determinism. Under this model, the universe is a great clock. It is a giant machine composed of separate parts, atoms, planets, people, that interact through predictable forces: gravity, inertia. The central premise of Newton's universe is predictability. The mathematician Pierre-Simon Laplace took this idea to the extreme with his famous Laplace's demon. He said that if an intelligence could know the position and velocity of every particle in the universe in a single instant, it could predict with absolute accuracy the entire future and retrodict the entire past. In this universe, there is no room for chance. And the most terrifying part, there is no room for free will. If the Big Bang was the first push of the billiard balls, everything that has happened since, including you listening to this now, is simply the inevitable result of atomic collisions predetermined billions of years ago. In the Newtonian paradigm, objectivity is king. Reality exists independently of you. You are a passive observer. Your consciousness is seen as a ghost in the machine, an irrelevant byproduct of brain activity. You do not influence reality. Reality influences you. This is the birth of scientific victimhood. If you feel small, helpless, and at the mercy of circumstances, it is because your mental software is running Isaac Newton's operating system. You see yourself as a solid object being hit by other solid objects in a hostile and indifferent universe. For centuries, this was the truth. But at the end of the 19th century, cracks began to appear in the perfect machinery. The ultraviolet catastrophe and the end of continuity. The first blow to objectivity arrived in 1900 from the hand of a conservative German physicist named Max Planck. Planck was trying to solve a technical problem regarding how objects radiate heat, the black body problem. Newton's equations predicted something absurd, that an oven should emit infinite energy, the ultraviolet catastrophe. To fix the math, Planck had to make a desperate assumption. He had to assume that energy did not flow like a continuous river, as Newton believed, but was delivered in small discrete packets like bullets or grains of sand. He called these packets quanta. Unwittingly, Planck had discovered that reality is pixelated. This shattered the idea of continuity. Nature took leaps, but the true earthquake came when physicists began to look inside the atom. The empty atom, the dissolution of matter. In the classical model, atoms were thought to be microscopic, solid, and indivisible billiard balls. Ernest Rutherford, in 1911, proved this was false. By firing alpha particles at a gold foil, he discovered that most passed right through. He concluded that the atom is almost entirely empty space. To visualize it, if the nucleus of an atom were a basketball in the center of Madrid, the electrons would be pinheads orbiting on the outskirts of the city. Everything in between is void. You, your chair, your house, and your planet are made of 99.99% nothing. What you perceive as solidity is not matter. It is an illusion created by electromagnetic force fields that repel each other, like two magnets that do not touch. When you sit in a chair, your buttocks never actually touch the chair. The electrons in your body repel the electrons in the chair, and you levitate at a microscopic distance. Solid matter, the foundation of materialism, had evaporated. But quantum physics had an even greater surprise in store. The components of that matter didn't even know what they were. Cosmic schizophrenia, wave and particle. We reach the heart of the rupture with objectivity, wave-particle duality. For centuries, it was debated whether light was a particle, Newton, or a wave, Huygens. At the beginning of the 20th century, it was proven that light is both. Depending on how you design the experiment, light behaves like solid pellets, photons, or like water waves, frequency. Then, in 1924, Louis de Broglie launched a radical hypothesis. If light, energy, can behave as matter, can matter, electrons, behave as waves? The answer was a resounding yes. It was proven that electrons, the bricks of your body, can diffract and interfere like sound waves. This means that matter is not local. A wave is not at a fixed point. It is spread out in space. A wave is a disturbance. A wave is a possibility. This is where Newtonian objectivity receives its mortal wound. If an electron is a wave, it does not have a defined position. It is not there. It is potentially there. And what decides when it stops being a potential wave and becomes a real particle? You do. Heisenberg and the end of certainty. In 1927, Werner Heisenberg formulated his famous uncertainty principle. In Newton's world, if you have better instruments, you can measure everything with infinite precision. Heisenberg proved that there is a fundamental limit in nature. You cannot simultaneously know the position and the velocity, momentum of a particle. The more precisely you pinpoint where it is, the less you know where it is going. And this is not due to a lack of technology. It is because the particle does not have a defined position and velocity at the same time. Nature itself has not decided where the particle is until you force it to manifest. Heisenberg wrote, "The path of the particle only comes into existence when we observe it." Read that sentence again. It's not that we observe the path that already existed. It's that the path is born at the moment of observation. Before you look, there is no path. There is a fuzzy cloud of probabilities. This destroys determinism. If you cannot know the current position and velocity, because they aren't defined, you cannot predict the future. Goodbye to Laplace's demon. The future is not written. The future is a range of fluctuating probabilities. The debate of the century, Einstein versus Bohr. This new physics was so strange, so subjective, and so mystical that it divided the scientific community into two camps, starring in the most important intellectual debate in history. In one corner, Albert Einstein. Einstein was a realist. He believed in objectivity. Although he helped found quantum theory, discovering the photoelectric effect, he hated its philosophical implications. His famous phrase, "God does not play dice," was a cry of desperation. Einstein believed the moon had to be there, even if no one looked at it. He thought quantum mechanics was incomplete, that there must exist hidden variables that explained the behavior of particles without resorting to observation or chance. In the other corner, Niels Bohr and the Copenhagen School. Bohr was a radical pragmatist. He accepted what the experiments said, however crazy they seemed. His stance was, "Stop telling God what to do." Bohr maintained that it makes no sense to speak of an underlying objective reality. Physics does not describe the universe as it is. It describes our interaction with it. For Bohr, before measurement, the electron does not exist as a physical object. It exists as a mathematical abstraction. Bohr won the debate in terms of utility. Quantum theory works. But Einstein died believing that one day sanity and objectivity would be restored. Einstein died wrong. The Bell theorem, the final sentence. In 1964, physicist John Stuart Bell devised a mathematical way to prove who was right. Was the universe objective and local, Einstein, or was it non-local and participatory, Bohr? He formulated Bell's theorem. If Einstein was right, and a hidden objective reality existed, local realism, measurements of entangled particles should follow certain statistics. If Bohr was right, and reality was created at the moment of measurement, quantum mechanics, the statistics would violate that limit. For years it was only theory, but in 1982 French physicist Alain Aspect performed the definitive experiment in Paris. The results were unequivocal. Bell's inequality was violated. This is perhaps the most profound discovery in human history. It means that local realism is false, one of two things. One of two. Either the universe is non-local, things can affect each other instantaneously across infinite distances, exceeding the speed of light. Or the universe is non-realistic, objects do not have defined properties until they are measured. Most physicists today accept both. The universe is an interconnected network, non-local, where reality is not defined until consciousness interacts with it, contextuality. What does the death of objectivity mean for you? Why am I telling you this story of dead physicists and invisible particles? Because you are made of those particles. If the fundamental bricks of your existence are not solid and await an instruction to define themselves, then you are not solid and your life is not defined. The Newtonian model taught you that your problems are objective. It taught you that a medical diagnosis is a solid sentence. It taught you that your empty bank account is an immovable fact of reality. It taught you that your personality is hardwired in your brain. That model is false. When you look at your problem, you are not looking at an objective reality. You are looking at a wave function that you have collapsed into an unpleasant form due to your habit of observation. But the nature of that reality remains, at its core, a wave. It remains malleable energy. The death of objectivity is the birth of your freedom. It means the world is not a prison of accomplished facts. It is a liquid mirror. The chair seems solid only because you observe it from a macroscopic and constant perspective. But your life circumstances are much more fluid than a chair. Your relationships, your health, and your future are vibrating in superposition. Einstein sought certainties, but you must learn to love uncertainty. Because in Newtonian certainty, the future is a repetition of the past. Only in quantum uncertainty does space exist for the new. The new paradigm, the universe as mind. Sir James Jeans, a brilliant British physicist and astronomer, upon seeing materialism collapse, wrote a phrase that summarizes our new paradigm. The stream of knowledge is heading towards a non-mechanical reality. The universe begins to look more like a great thought than like a great machine. If the universe is a thought, then matter is simply densified thought. And if you are a thinking being, you are a co-creator of that reality. We are no longer victims of Newton's laws. Newton describes the behavior of things when no one is looking or when they are looked at unconsciously. Quantum mechanics describes the behavior of things when consciousness enters the equation. You are the missing variable in Newton's equations. You have been living like an automaton, letting your reality be governed by the inertia of the past. You have been letting the world be objective, but the moment you wake up and apply the observer effect, you break objectivity. You introduce subjectivity. You introduce will. And when conscious will observes energy, energy obeys. Chapter 2, the measurement problem. Imagine you have a machine gun that fires marbles, solid particles of matter. In front of you is a steel plate with two vertical slits open, slit A and slit B. Behind that plate, there is a wooden wall where the marbles strike and leave a mark. If you cover slit B and fire through A, you will get a vertical line of impacts on the back wall right behind slit A. Logical. If you cover slit A and fire through B, you will get another vertical line behind B. And if you open both slits and fire a burst like crazy, what do you get? You get two vertical bands of impacts on the back wall. Marbles are solid objects. They either pass through the left or they pass through the right. They cannot pass through both at once. The sum of the parts is equal to the total. This is particle behavior. Now let's change the scenario. Instead of a machine gun, we are in a swimming pool. We have a wave generator. We send a water wave toward the barrier with two slits. The wave hits the barrier. A part of the energy passes through slit A, and another part passes through slit B. Upon exiting the other side, the two new waves expand in semicircles and begin to collide with each other. What happens when two waves collide? Interference occurs. Where the crest of one wave meets the crest of the other, they add up and create a higher wave, constructive interference. Where the crest of one wave meets the valley of the other, they cancel each other out and the water remains flat, destructive interference. When these waves interfere and hit the back wall of the pool, they do not leave two bands. They leave a complex pattern, many alternating bands of strong intensity, weak, strong, weak. This is called an interference pattern. It is the unmistakable signature that we are dealing with energy, with waves, with something that passes through both holes simultaneously. The quantum anomaly. Up to here, everything is high school physics. Matter is matter, energy is energy. But at the beginning of the 20th century, physicists decided to do this experiment with electrons. Electrons are the building blocks of reality. They have mass, you can weigh them. They are, by definition, matter. They are tiny marbles, so scientists expected to see two bands on the back wall. They fired the electrons one by one. They waited for the impacts to accumulate on the photographic plate at the back. And when they developed the plate, the scientific community's jaw dropped to the floor. There were not two bands. There was an interference pattern. There were multiple alternating bands, identical to those left by water waves. Stop for a moment to process what this means. It means the electron left the cannon as a particle, but upon reaching the barrier, it dissolved into a wave of pure possibility. That wave passed through slit A and slit B at the same time. The electron passed through itself. It interfered with itself. And only upon hitting the back wall did it decide to become a particle again and leave a dot on the photo. The electron was in superposition. It was in two places at once. The eye that changes everything, this was unacceptable to the rational mind. How can a solid thing pass through two holes at once? It has to be a trick. The scientists thought, surely it passes through only one, but it moves in a strange way. Let's spy on it. They decided to place a detector, a sensor, a technological eye, right next to the slits. The goal was simple, to see which slit the electron actually passed through without stopping it. They just wanted to know the path. They wanted information. They prepared the experiment again. The cannon fires. The detector is on, watching the slits. The back plate records the impacts. And then the impossible happened. The moment they turned on the detector, the interference pattern disappeared. On the back wall, two bands appeared. The electron stopped behaving like a wave and began to behave like a marble. It passed through slit A or slit B, not through both. Think about it. The electron knew it was being observed. The act of measuring, the act of extracting information about its trajectory, which way are you going, forced the electron to abandon its state of infinite potential and to collapse into a single, defined reality. The scientists turned off the detector, stopped looking, and the interference pattern returned. They turned on the detector, started looking, and the pattern disappeared. It didn't matter what kind of detector they used. It didn't matter if they used light, magnetism, or any subtle method. If path information, which path information was available in the universe, the electron behaved as solid matter. If the information was not available, the electron behaved as a wave of possibility. Conclusion. Nature does not have a defined shape. Nature waits to see if you are looking to decide what clothes to put on. If you don't look, it is an omnipresent ghost. If you look, it is a localized object. The wave function, the map of the possible. To describe this mathematically, Erwin Schrödinger developed his famous equation. In quantum mechanics, the state of a system is not described with fixed coordinates, x, y, z, but with a Greek letter, psi, jatitu psi dalo. This is the wave function. The wave function does not tell you where the electron is. It tells you the probability of finding it in different places. Imagine a dense cloud representing where the electron could be. Where the cloud is thicker, there is more probability. The wave function is deterministic. It evolves smoothly in time. The cloud moves and changes shape predictably, as long as no one disturbs it. This is called unitary evolution, process U. But at the moment of measurement, a violent break occurs in the mathematics. The soft and extended cloud instantly disappears and concentrates on a tiny point, 100% probability in a single place. This is called wave packet reduction or collapse, process R. The mystery of the measurement problem is that the Schrödinger equation, the fundamental law of quantum physics, does not explain the collapse. According to the equation, the collapse should never occur. Everything should always remain in superposition. Mathematics says that the electron, the detector, and the scientist should become entangled in a giant and complex superposition. But in real life, we never see live and dead cats at the same time. We see concrete facts. What causes the break? What is it about the act of measuring that stands above the mathematical laws of matter? The von Neumann chain. Where is the cut? The mathematician John von Neumann, one of the most brilliant brains of the 20th century, analyzed this problem with relentless logic. He followed the chain of events of a measurement to find the culprit for the collapse. Let's follow it ourselves. 1. The electron, it is a quantum system. It is in superposition of wave A and wave B. 2. The detector. It is made of atoms, atoms that also obey quantum mechanics. Therefore, when the electron interacts with the detector should not collapse the wave. It should enter into superposition with it. The detector should be in a state of having detected A and having detected B at the same time. Through its eye, the scientist's eye. The scientist looks at the detector screen. The eye is made of cells, molecules, atoms. The eye is also a quantum system. It should enter into superposition. Retina seeing A and retina seeing B. 4. The brain. The signal travels through the optic nerve to the brain. The brain is matter, neurons, atoms. The brain should enter a state of superposition of believing it passed through A and believing it passed through B. Von Neumann reasoned, if everything is physical matter, and all physical matter obeys Schrödinger's equation, superposition, then nothing physical can collapse the wave. A chain of dominoes cannot stop itself. For the wave to collapse and become a defined fact, I saw it, it passed through A. There has to be something at the end of the chain that is not physical, something that is not subject to the laws of quantum matter, something that is outside the system. Von Neumann concluded that this something is abstract consciousness, the ego or the mental observer. The collapse occurs the moment the knowledge is registered in an immaterial mind. This is known as the consciousness causes collapse interpretation. It means that the physical universe is a shadow that remains in limbo until a mind illuminates it. Without you, there is no world. There is only a mathematical equation floating in the void. Schrödinger's cat, the macroscopic paradox. To mock this idea and paradoxically ending up popularizing it, Schrödinger posed his cat thought experiment. You lock a cat in a steel box. Inside there is a radioactive atom. If the atom decays, a random quantum event, it breaks a vial of poison and the cat dies. If it doesn't decay, the cat lives. After an hour, the atom's wave function is in superposition. 50% decayed, 50% not decayed. According to strict quantum mechanics, since the cat's fate is entangled with the atom, the cat also enters into superposition. Until you open the box, the state of the system is tam pas, chanchas, live cat, pauls, dead cat. It's not that you don't know if it's alive or dead. It's that it is literally in both states at once. The cat's reality is suspended. When you open the lid and look, you force nature to choose. Your gaze kills the cat or saves it. You are the quantum executioner or savior. Now apply this to your life. Your life is Schrödinger's box. Your future problems, your successes, your medical diagnoses that you haven't received yet, they are in the box. They are not real yet. They are in superposition. They are waves of live cat, dead cat possibility. What do you think you are doing every time you obsessively worry about a negative outcome? You are opening the box mentally over and over again with fear. And as we will see in the chapters on attention, emotion is a probability amplifier. By observing the future with terror, you are loading the quantum dice so that, when the box physically opens, you find the dead cat. You are collapsing the worst version of reality through faulty and paranoid observation. The quantum eraser, time does not save. But, the skeptic will say, the cat is already dead or alive before I see it. My gaze only informs me. To destroy this last refuge of realism, physicists devised the quantum eraser experiment. It is a sophisticated version of the double slit. In this experiment, scientists measure which slit the electron passes through, collapsing the wave, but they store that information without looking at it. Then, through a random process, they decide to erase that information before anyone can see it. They destroy the path data. What happens? Incredibly, when the which way information is erased, the interference pattern reappears. The electron, which had already passed through the barrier as a particle, because it was measured, becomes a wave again retroactively, because the information of its measurement was destroyed. This proves that it is not the physical collision with the detector that collapses reality. It is the availability of information. If the information exists in the universe, reality is solid. If the information is erased, reality becomes fluid again. This tells us that reality is fundamentally information, and consciousness is the processor of that information. What does this mean for you? We have reached the bottom of the rabbit hole. The measurement problem leaves us with three inescapable truths that will form the basis of your training as an operator of reality. 1. Reality is not solid. It is a spectrum of probabilities. What you call the physical world is simply the probability that has won the race and has collapsed into the present. But everything that is not present is wave. 2. Observation is creation. You cannot observe something without changing it. Your attention is not a flashlight that illuminates what is already there. It is a chisel that sculpts what will be. 3. You are the limit. The collapse occurs in you. You are the boundary where the quantum world, mental, possible, becomes the classical world, physical, real. You are the manifestation machine. Chapter 3. Superposition and Duality. Navigating the potential field. Now that we have accepted the devastating premise that reality is not objective and that our observation is the engine of creation, we must ask ourselves, what exactly is it that we are observing? Before you look at your bank account and collapse the exact figure, what is your money? Before the doctor gives you the diagnosis, what is your health? The answer from quantum physics is as strange as it is liberating. Before observation, all possible versions of your reality exist simultaneously in a ghostly state called superposition. In this chapter, we are going to learn to live in that state. Most people run desperately toward certainty. They want to know what is going to happen next. They hate uncertainty. But for the master of the observer effect, uncertainty is the most fertile ground in the universe. Certainty is the realm of what already is, the past, the dead particle. Uncertainty is the realm of what could be, the future, the living wave. If you want to create something new, you have to learn to love the fog of potential. You have to learn to navigate superposition. The fundamental duality. Are you matter or are you music? Let's go back to the concept of wave-particle duality. We already saw that light and matter can behave as two distinct things. The particle. It is a point in space, it is local, it has mass, it occupies a definite place, it solidifies and is solid. The wave. It is a disturbance in space. It is not at a point, it is extended, it is energy, it is vibration. It can pass through other waves. It is possibility. You also have this double nature. You as a particle, you are your physical body. You have a name, an age, a weight, an address, and a bank account with a fixed number. You are dense. You are subject to gravity and entropy. You age. You are a thing separated from other things. You as a wave. You are your consciousness. You are your energy. Your thoughts have no weight. Your imagination occupies no space. You can close your eyes and be in Paris in an instant. As a wave, you are non-local. You are connected to the field. You are pure information vibrating. The drama of human existence is that we have forgotten our wave nature. We have identified so deeply with the avatar, the particle, that we believe we are only solid matter fighting against other solid matter. We live in particle mode, and particle mode is slow, heavy, and difficult to change or to move. To change a particle, your physical life, from the particle level, you need to exert physical force, hard work, stress, struggle. You have to move rocks. But if you remember your wave nature, the rules change. Waves do not fight. Waves resonate. Waves mix, interfere, and change shape effortlessly. If you learn to operate from your wave nature, if you learn this, you can alter the structure of reality with an elegance that looks like magic, but is simply high-frequency physics. What is superposition? The spinning coin. Superposition is the principle that a quantum system can exist in multiple states at once until it is measured. The best metaphor is a coin spinning on a table today. While the coin spins fast, is it heads? No. Is it tails? No. Is it neither? No, it is heads and tails simultaneously. It is a blurry smudge that contains the potential of both. That is superposition. It is a state of pure potential where all options are valid and coexist. The moment you put your hand on the coin, stop, observe, it finally collapses. Now it is heads, or it is tails. There is no more potential, now there is history, now there is a fact. Your immediate future is that spinning coin. Tomorrow morning, is a spinning coin. In the superposition of tomorrow, there are infinite versions of you. There is a version of you that receives a wonderful call, a version with an accident. There is a version of you that gets inspired and has $1 million idea. There is a version of you that stays just as bored as today. All these realities are spinning right now in the quantum field. None is real yet, but all are possible. They have a mathematical existence as probability waves. Your personal wave function is your menu. In physics, we represent this superposition with the wave equation. Imagine a wave graph. Some waves are high amplitude, which means they are very probable. Other waves are low amplitude, which means they are unlikely. Your current life is simply the highest wave. It is what we call the probable future, if you do nothing at all. If you keep thinking and feeling the same as yesterday, you are feeding the wave of more of the same. The inertia of your past makes the probability of tomorrow being the same as today 90%. That is why life seems predictable, not because the future is fixed, but because you are predictable. Your observation is lazy and repetitive daily. But here is the key. Although the miracle wave is small, low probability, it exists. It is there. It is not zero. The wave of I heal spontaneously is on the chart. The wave of I win the lottery is on the chart. Navigating the field of potential means learning to use your conscious attention to take energy away from the big, boring wave. When you observe the desired possibility with enough intensity and constancy, its amplitude grows. The small wave becomes a giant, and the old giant wave flattens out. You change the distribution of probabilities. You make the impossible become probable and eventually inevitable. The cat is alive and dead, and rich and poor too. Let's return to Schrödinger's cat, but apply it to your identity. You are the cat. The box is your life. As long as you don't define yourself rigidly, I am a failure, I am sick, you are in superposition. There is a version of you in the quantum multiverse that already is what you wish to be. This is vital for you to understand. You don't build it. You don't have to build the successful you. You don't have to manufacture it from scratch. That you already exists as a frequency in the field. It is already vibrating. It has a specific electromagnetic signature. Your job is not to create the wave. Your job is to tune into it. Your job is to find that frequency on the dial and stay there. Stay there until it becomes your dominant reality. The problem is that we obsess over premature collapse. We look in the mirror in the morning, see the wrinkles or the sadness and say, I am this. Boom, wave collapse. You have stopped the coin on tails. You have killed all other possibilities. You have reaffirmed your limited identity. The quantum master looks in the mirror, and although he sees current physical reality, he refuses to collapse the wave emotionally. He says, this is only a temporary state of the particle. My wave is much larger. He keeps the superposition open, the vertigo of nothingness, the quantum void. To navigate potential, you must enter the void. The field of pure potentiality is, by definition, a place where no thing is a thing. It is darkness. It is silence. It is black space. When you close your eyes in meditation and disconnect from your senses, you enter this space. At first it is scary. The ego, which is a particle addicted to identity, feels like it is dying. I am no one. I have no body. There is no time. The ego wants to grab onto something solid. It wants to worry about the electricity bill because that gives it a sense of real existence. But you must resist the temptation to return to the known. You must float in the void, because it is in that void, in that darkness where you are no one, you become all. By not being a defined particle, you become the expanded wave. You become omnipresent. In that state of no one, you have access to all the masks of reality. You can choose, who do I want to be when I collapse my wave again? Do I want to be the victim again, or do I want to return as the hero? The void is God's dressing room for you. It is where you change your costume. But to change your costume, first you have to take off the old one and stay naked for a moment. That moment of nakedness is superposition. How to destroy possibilities. The effect of fear. Let's talk about how most people misuse this power. Fear is a form of highly concentrated observation in the mind. When you are afraid your partner will leave you, what do? You visualize the scene, you imagine being alone. You feel the emotion, anguish, panic. You repeat it constantly, obsession. You are applying the observer effect with laser precision upon the breakup wave. You are feeding that probability with your own vital energy and power. You are ignoring all other waves, the wave where you are happy, the wave where it gets fixed, and you are collapsing day after day the reality of disaster. You are the architect of your own nightmare. Understanding superposition frees you from fear because you realize that the negative future is only one option among millions. It is not real. It is not a sentence. It is just a wave competing for your attention. If you withdraw your attention, it loses energy. It fades away. It returns to the sea of nothingness. You have the right to say, I see that possibility, but I choose not to observe it. I choose to observe this other one. That is quantum free will, the illusion of linearity. In the world of particles, Newton, time is an arrow from past to future. What you did yesterday causes what you are today. In the world of waves, quantum, time is not linear, it is holistic. Everything occurs in the eternal now. All waves of superposition exist already. This is hard for the rational brain to understand, but crucial for magic. If all versions of your future exist now as potentials, it means you don't have to wait for them to happen. You can connect with them now. You can feel the gratitude of your future success now. When you do that, when you feel the emotion of the future in the present, you are doing a quantum entanglement with that specific timeline today. You are throwing an energetic hook toward that version of you in the superposition and pulling it toward the present, or rather, you are pulling yourself toward it. Navigating the field is not traveling in time, it is traveling in frequency. It is tuning the radio. All songs are in the air at once. You decide which plays on your speaker. Coherence and interference, the physics of tuning. How do we tune into the right wave? Through coherence. Imagine an army marching across a bridge. If they all march in step, coherence, they create a giant wave that can knock the bridge down. If each soldier walks at his own pace, incoherence, the energy dissipates. Nothing happens at all. Your brain and your heart are wave emitters. If you think, I want to be rich, is wave A, but you feel, I am afraid of being poor, wave B, you are in incoherence. The waves are out of phase. Destructive interference occurs. Navigating the field of potential requires you to become a human laser. A laser is simply coherent light. All photons march. A light bulb scatters its light and barely illuminates a room. A laser of the same watts can cut through steel. You have been a scattered light bulb, thinking one thing, feeling another, and doing another. The power of the observer effect is unleashed when you align thought, electric, and emotion, magnetic, into a single beam of intention. The art of not knowing, surfing the wave. There is a final paradox in navigating superposition. To collapse the best possible reality, sometimes you have to let go of control over exact details. If you obsess over how and when, you are limiting the superposition. You are trying to force a very small and specific particle. You limit it. You are strangling the universe. Remember the uncertainty principle. The more precisely you specify the position, the less you know about the momentum. Sometimes the best way to navigate is to keep the intention clear, the what, but leave the path open, the how. This allows the infinite intelligence of the field to organize all the details. The field organizes things in a way your limited mind cannot even imagine. Navigating the field is a dance between defining the destination and letting go of the steering wheel. It is saying, this is what I observe as a final result, but I allow the wave to reach me through the path of least resistance. Trust that the field knows logistics. The practice, the detached observer. How do you bring this to your daily life? By practicing detachment from the particle. When something bad happens in your day, your boss yells you missed the train, do not collapse it immediately with a definitive judgment. Today is a horrible day. Stop. Breathe. Remember the state of superposition. Say, this is just an event. It is a fluctuation in the wave. It does not define the final result. Stay in the state of perhaps. Remember the fable of the Chinese farmer. Good luck? Bad luck? Who knows? By not judging the present moment as bad, you keep open the quantum ramifications where that event becomes something beneficial. You turn the obstacle into a fork toward a better timeline. The observer does not react. The observer responds. Reaction is mechanical, past. Response is creative, future. Stay on the wave as long as possible. Do not solidify in anger or sadness. Be water. Be the wave. Chapter 4. The Biology of the Observer. You are anchored to a biological machinery of astonishing complexity. You live inside a body. You look through biological eyes. You process information with a carbon-based neural network. To master the observer effect, it is not enough to understand the physics of the universe. You have to understand the engineering of your own machine. You have to know the measurement hardware. The uncomfortable question is your hardware reliable? Do you see reality as it is? Or do you see an edited, censored, and compressed version of reality? Modern neuroscience gives us a humbling answer. Your brain is not designed to see the truth, it is designed to survive. Your brain is a reducing valve, as Aldous Huxley said. Its job is not to show you everything that exists, because that would drive you crazy, but to filter 99.9% of the information and show you only what you need to eat, reproduce, and not be eaten. You live in a sensory simulation. The problem is that you are trying to create an unlimited quantum life using hardware configured for limited survival. In this chapter, we are going to open the hood. We are going to see how your senses deceive you, how your memory hijacks your vision, and how to update your brain's firmware so it stops being a mere recorder of the past and becomes a generator of the future. The bandwidth, biological blindness. Let's start with an indisputable physical fact. You are almost blind. The universe is full of information. It is a sea of electromagnetic waves vibrating at different frequencies: gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet, infrared, microwaves, radio waves. Of that entire infinite spectrum of reality, your eyes can only perceive a tiny strip that we call visible light. This strip is less than 1% of the total spectrum. It means that right now, in the room where you are, there are Wi-Fi waves, radio signals, cosmic radiation, and magnetic fields passing through your body. They are real. They are there. They carry information. But for you, they do not exist. Your hardware, the retina, does not have the receptors to collapse those waves. For your biological consciousness, that part of the universe is nothing. This has a profound implication for the observer effect. You can only collapse what you can perceive. If your hardware is limited, your reality is limited. A bat lives in a reality of ultrasounds that you cannot imagine. A snake sees heat, infrared, that is invisible to you. They collapse a different universe than yours. The average human walks through life believing that what they see is all there is. This sensory arrogance is the first barrier. When you say, "I don't see any opportunity," or "I don't see the solution," what you are really saying is, "My current sensors do not detect the frequency of the solution." It's not that the solution doesn't exist. It's in superposition. It's that you are blind to it. The quantum master starts from humility. They know that visible reality is only the tip of the iceberg. They know that most of the action occurs in the invisible, and they learn to use their inner eye, imagination and intuition, to perceive what the retina ignores. The brain in the dark, the controlled hallucination. Let's talk about how you see. It seems to you that your eyes are transparent windows to the world, right? You open your eyelids and the world comes in. False. Your eyes do not see. Your eyes are only lenses that focus photons on the retina. The retina converts those photons into electrical impulses, chemistry and electricity. Those impulses travel through the optic nerve to the back of your brain, the visual cortex. This is where it gets interesting. Your brain is enclosed in a bony box, the skull, that is totally dark. It has never seen light. It has never seen a tree. It has never seen your face. Your brain only receives electrical signals in Morse code. Pip, pip, pip. And with those raw data, your brain builds a three-dimensional holographic image in full color and projects it onto the screen of your mind. What you see is not the world, it is a reconstruction. It is a model. Neuroscientist Anil Seth calls this controlled hallucination. We hallucinate our reality all the time. When we agree on the hallucination, we call it reality. Why is this vital for change? Because your brain does not build the image from scratch every time. That would consume too much energy. Your brain uses shortcuts. It uses memory. The brain says, okay, this looks like a chair. I've seen chairs before. I'm not going to waste energy analyzing this chair. I'm simply going to paste the generic image of chair that I have in my memory. You are not seeing this chair. You are seeing your memory of a chair. You are seeing the past. This applies to people. When you look at your partner or your boss, you are not seeing them in the present moment as a fluctuating wave of possibilities. Your brain instantly overlays all the memories of past arguments, judgments, and expectations onto their face. You are collapsing the wave function of that person based on old data. You are interacting with a ghost of your memory, not with the living being in front of you. That is why relationships don't change, because no one lets the other be new. We observe them through the dirty filter of the past. The reticular activating system, RAS, the nightclub bouncer. If you had to consciously process all the sensory information coming at you, temperature, touch of clothes, background noises, smells, peripheral vision, your brain would collapse in seconds. It's millions of bits per second. To protect you, evolution installed a physical filter in your brainstem, the reticular activating system, RAS. The RAS is the bouncer of your mind's nightclub. Its job is to say, you're not coming in, you're not coming in, you're not coming in. You are. It only lets through what it considers important. And what does the RAS consider important? Two things. One, what threatens your survival, a loud noise, a pain. Two, what matches your deep beliefs. Here is the key to the kingdom. Your RAS is programmed by your beliefs. If your deep belief is, the world is a hostile place and people are mean, your RAS has the order to let through only information that confirms that. You will walk down the street and see someone with an angry face. You will see trash on the ground. You will hear an insult. Your RAS will erase, literally make you blind to, the person smiling, the flower in the asphalt, and the distant music. You won't see them. They won't enter your consciousness. You won't be able to collapse that positive reality because you won't even know it was there. This is biological confirmation bias. Your hardware is configured to prove you right, not to give you the truth. If you believe there are no job opportunities, your RAS will hide the hiring sign from you even if you walk right past it. It is a psychological scotoma, blind spot. The power of the observer effect begins when you reprogram the RAS. When you start to visualize and feel gratitude for abundance, even if you don't have it, you are giving new instructions to the bouncer. Hey RAS, from now on, abundance is important. Let it in. Suddenly you start to see opportunities everywhere. It is not magic. It is that you have taken off the dark sunglasses. The world was always full of light. You had the wrong filter. Neuroplasticity, rewiring the machine. For a long time it was thought that the adult brain was fixed, that the neurons you had were the ones you had, and the wiring was immutable. Today, we know this is false. Neuroplasticity exists. The brain is living clay. It constantly remodels itself according to how you use it. Hebb's law states, neurons that fire together wire together. If every morning you get up, remember your problems and feel anxious, you are firing the anxiety neural circuit. Day after day, that circuit strengthens. It becomes a broadband highway. It becomes myelinated, covered in insulation to go faster. You become a neurobiological expert in being anxious. Your brain becomes so efficient at being anxious that it can do it on autopilot without you thinking about it. You have become a robot of your past, but neuroplasticity works both ways. Neurons that do not fire together pull apart. If you stop using a circuit, it atrophies, it disappears. The training of the quantum observer is, at a biological level, a process of synaptic pruning. When you sit down to meditate and refuse to think about your usual problems, you are starving the old neural networks. You are dismantling the highway of the old self. And when you focus on your desired future and feel the elevated emotion, you are building new connections. You are installing new hardware. At first it's difficult, like walking through the virgin jungle with a machete. But if you persist, you create a trail, then a path, then a highway. Her day will come when being happy and abundant will be your default automatic response, because it will be the physical structure of your brain. You will have turned software, mind, into hardware, brain. The frontal lobe, the observer's throne. Where does the conscious observer live in the brain? If we had to locate it, it would be in the frontal lobe, specifically the prefrontal cortex. It is the most evolved part of the human brain, right behind your forehead. It occupies 40% of your brain. In cats, it's 3%. In chimpanzees, 17%. It is the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of your life. It is the part responsible for intention, vision, focus, and impulse control. It is the part that can observe the other parts. When you say, "I feel like eating cake, but I won't because I want to be healthy," it is your frontal lobe observer, breaking your limbic brain animal. The problem with modern society is that we live with the frontal lobe turned off. Chronic stress disconnects the CEO. When you are in survival mode, stress, rush, fear, blood flees from the frontal lobe toward the reptilian and limbic brain, automatic reaction. You become a reactive animal. In that state, there is no observer. There is only program. You are a stimulus-response automaton. Someone yells at you. You yell back. The phone rings. You look. There is no space between stimulus and response. There is no free will. To apply the observer effect, you have to bring the blood and energy back to the forehead. Meditation does exactly this. It strengthens the frontal lobe. It makes it thicker. It gives you the capacity for metacognition, the ability to think about what you are thinking, the ability to step out of yourself and observe yourself. Look, my body wants to get angry now, how interesting, but I decide not to. That space of decision is where quantum magic happens. Without a strong frontal lobe, you are a particle hit by the environment. With a strong frontal lobe, you are the wave that directs the environment. The refractory period, the chemistry of stubbornness. Let's talk about chemistry. Every time you have an emotional reaction, say anger, your brain releases chemical peptides. Your body takes time to metabolize and eliminate those chemicals. That time is the refractory period. During that time, you are under the effects of the anger drug. You cannot think clearly. Your RAS filter is locked on searching for threats. You are biologically incapable of observing anything positive. For most people, the refractory period lasts hours. For some, it lasts days. We call it being in a bad mood. For others, it lasts years. We call it temperament or personality. If you got angry about something in 1995, and you still feel the same emotion today when you remember it, it means you have been in a 30-year refractory period. You haven't stopped observing the event for a single second. You have kept the wave of that trauma alive, collapsing it every day. Biologically, you are still living in 1995. Your body doesn't distinguish between the real event and your constant memory of it. For the body, the trauma is happening now. And if the body believes it is in danger in the past, it cannot devote energy to creating the future. The hardware is busy. The RAM is full processing the virus of the past. The work of the observer is to shorten the refractory period. It is learning to feel the emotion, observe it chemically. It's adrenaline, and let it pass without getting hooked on the mental story. Moving from days to hours, from hours to minutes. When your refractory period is seconds, you are a master. You are fluid. Nothing sticks to you. You are always in the present, ready to collapse the next best option. The three brains: thinking, doing, being. For a new reality to manifest, it must pass through 3 levels of biological processing. You must align your 3 brains. 1. Neocortex thinking brain processes knowledge. Here you learn the theory. I understand that I can create my reality. It is philosophy. 2. Limbic brain, emotional brain, processes experience. Here you apply what you've learned. You feel the emotion. I feel gratitude. It is chemistry. 3. Cerebellum, reptilian automatic brain, processes habit. Here you memorize the state. It becomes automatic. I am abundant. It is the state of being. Most people stay at step 1. They are armchair philosophers. They understand quantum intellectually, but their lives are a disaster. The quantum observer must bring the information down from the brain to the body. Knowledge, neocortex, is for the mind. Experience, limbic, is for the body. When mind and body work together, you modify the cerebellum, the seat of the subconscious. When the new state of being, e.g. health, is recorded in the cerebellum, you no longer have to try to be healthy. You simply are. You do it without thinking. Like riding a bicycle. Your observation of health becomes automatic, constant, and subconscious. And since 95% of your day is subconscious, you will be collapsing health 24/7 effortlessly. That is the goal, to automate positive observation, to turn the miracle into biological routine. The experiment, breaking continuity. Your brain is a prediction machine. It loves routine because routine saves energy. It gets up on the same side of the bed, drinks the same coffee, sees the same people, has the same thoughts. This continuity creates a solid and boring reality. If you want to see glitches in the matrix, if you want to see new possibilities, you have to disorient your hardware. You have to surprise the brain. Exercise. Tomorrow, do everything differently. Brush your teeth with your left hand. Take a different route to work. Listen to music you hate. Talk to a stranger. By doing this, you force the brain to step out of automatic mode and past and turn on attention mode, more present. You wake up the RAS. You open the reducing valve a little more. In that state of novel alertness, it is much more likely that you will perceive the synchronicities and waves of opportunity that you normally ignore. Novelty is the language of evolution. Chapter 5, Attention as Energy. There is an axiom in esoteric traditions that modern science is beginning to validate. Where you put your attention, you place your energy, and where you place your energy, matter expands. Literally, when you observe a quantum system, you are interacting with it. You are exchanging photons and information, you are feeding it. Imagine your attention as a garden hose through which an invisible electrical current flows. Everything you point the hose at grows. It receives life. It solidifies. Whatever you withdraw the hose from dries up. It withers. It returns to entropy. The problem for most humans is that they are terrible gardeners. They spend the day watering the weeds, their problems, with obsessive intensity, then wonder why their garden is a jungle of thorns. In this chapter, we are going to learn how to handle the hose. We will understand attention as an economic currency and as a physical force. Feeding the wave, the physics of flow, the ski. Return to the wave function. Imagine two potted plants in front of you. Plant A, my illness. Plant B, my health. Both exist in superposition. Both are possible. Every morning you get up and the first thing you do is check your symptoms. You talk about your pain with friends. You Google your illness. You define yourself as sick. You are pouring liters and liters of your attentional energy into plant A. You are collapsing that wave over and over. You are increasing its density and probability. Plant B, health, meanwhile, is in a dark corner, not receiving a single drop of your consciousness. What happens at a quantum level? The amplitude of the illness wave grows. It becomes dominant. The amplitude of the health wave decreases to nearly zero. It's not that your body cannot heal. It has the genetic code to do so. It's that energetically you are financing the disease. The universe is neutral. It does not judge what you observe. It only says, you are staring at this, you must want more of it. Attention acts as a signal amplifier. If you focus on lack, I have no money, you are sending energy to the reality structure called lack. You make it more solid. To change reality, you must do something counterintuitive and difficult. You must withdraw your attention from the current reality and place it on a reality not yet physical. You must stop watering the giant weed in front of your nose and start watering an invisible seed in the empty soil. This requires a titanic mental discipline. It requires ceasing to live by the senses and starting to live by vision. Attention as currency. What are you spending your money on? Language gives us hidden clues. In English, we say, pay attention. This is the most accurate metaphor. Attention is money. You have a limited budget of attentional energy each day. It's like your phone battery. You have 100% when you wake up. Every time you focus on something, you spend a percentage. Let's analyze your energetic bank statement of a typical day. You wake up and look at Instagram, others' lives, 10%. You worry about the news, 15%. You get angry with traffic, 15%. You criticize your coworker, 10%. You mentally replay the argument with your ex from 3 years ago, 20%. You fret about the future, 20%. You reach noon and have 10% battery left. With that miserable 10%, you try to sit down and meditate to create a new life of abundance. It doesn't work. You have no energetic capital. You are bankrupt. Your signal is weak. You have no strength to collapse new waves. You are a flashlight without batteries trying to light up the future. The quantum master is a miser with attention. He doesn't give it away to anyone. He protects his energy as if it were gold. If there is scandalous news on TV, the master says, "I will not pay for that. I will not finance that reality with my consciousness." He turns it off. If someone brings gossip, the master says, "I'm not interested in investing in that timeline," and he leaves. By withdrawing your attention from distractions, you begin to accumulate a surplus of energy. Your battery stays at 80% or 90%. And when you use that 90% focused on a single goal, your dream, you have the power of a laser. You move mountains. Energy thieves, the attention economy. You are not paranoid if you think everyone wants your attention. It is the truth. We live in the attention economy. The world's largest companies, social media, news, advertising, do not sell products. They sell your attention to advertisers. They hire neuroscientists and behavioral engineers to design algorithms to hijack your dopamine system and steal your observer effect. Every notification on your phone is a hook to catch your consciousness. They want you to collapse their reality, that you buy, vote, or fear, not yours. When you spend 2 hours scrolling on TikTok, you are not resting. You are being milked. You are fragmenting your attention into thousands of tiny pieces. This creates a brain state of incoherence and dispersion. Your mental wave becomes white noise. A scattered mind cannot manifest anything because it cannot hold the focus long enough on a single possibility. To reclaim your power as a creator, you must declare independence for your attention. You must do dopamine fasts. You must turn off notifications. You must get bored. Only in silence and solitude do you regain ownership of your laser beam. Convergent versus divergent focus. There are 2 modes of using attention, and each has a different effect on the quantum field. Dr. Les Fahmy and Joe Dispenza have studied this deeply. One, convergent focus, particle mode. It is the narrow focus. You look at an object, a person, a problem. It is the predator's or prey's focus. It activates beta waves, stress, alert. It consumes a lot of energy. This focus serves to do things in the 3D world. But this focus reaffirms separation. I am here, the object is there. When you focus obsessively on your problem, how do I pay this debt? You are using convergent focus. You are solidifying the debt. You turn it into the most real object in your universe. 2. Divergent focus, wave mode. It is the open focus. You don't look at something, you look at space. It is what you do when you stare at the horizon. You look at nothingness. It activates alpha and theta waves, relaxation, creation. It saves and regenerates energy. This focus dissolves separation. You merge with the environment. This is the focus we use to enter the quantum field. By putting your attention on empty space, your brain stops collapsing particles and starts tuning waves. The master technique is learning to switch from convergent to divergent at will. When you have a problem, don't stare at it. Convergent. Open the focus. Divergent. Relax into the space around the problem. By doing so, you decollapse the problem. You make it fluid again. And in that fluidity, the solution appears. The power of sustained focus, the magnifying glass. We all played as children with a magnifying glass under the sun to burn a leaf. The sun is the same. The leaf is the same. But if you move the glass from side to side, nothing happens. The leaf only warms up slightly. If you keep the glass still on a single point, energy concentrates. The temperature rises and fire. You transformed matter with light. Manifestation follows the same physics. Most people have a shaky attention. They focus on their desire for 3 minutes. Then think about dinner, then work, then return to the desire for 1 minute. They move the magnifying glass constantly. They never achieve the ignition point. The wave never collapses because you don't give it enough time or density. Mastery of the observer effect requires the ability to sustain an image and an emotion in your mind for a prolonged period without interruption. We speak of 15, 20, or 40 minutes of unwavering focus. This is physiologically difficult. The brain wants to jump. But every time you bring your mind back to the object of your creation, you are training the muscle. When you maintain the focus long enough, ignition occurs. You feel an internal click, a certainty, a release of energy. You know the work is done. The wave has collapsed. Vital energy and leaks from the past. There is another reason you have no energy to create the future. Your energy is trapped in the past. Every time you have a traumatic memory or an unresolved relationship, you leave a fragment of your attentional energy frozen in that moment of time. Imagine you have 100 energy units. You left 10 units in the divorce 5 years ago, 15 in the resentment toward your father, 5 in the shame of that mistake at work, 20 in the nostalgia for better times. Your soul is fragmented. You have horcruxes scattered across your timeline. You only have 40% of you left in the present. With 40% of your soul, you cannot create. You are too weak. To create the future, you need to reclaim your energy. This is called recapitulation or forgiveness. Forgiveness is not a moral act. It is an act of reclaiming energetic assets. When you forgive someone, you don't do it for them. You do it to cut the cable that drained energy to the past. You say, I release you, and by releasing you, I return my attention to myself. You literally feel how the energy returns to your body. You feel heavier, brighter, more present. Now you have 100% of your battery available for the laser shot of creation. The feedback loop. Where energy goes, blood flows. What happens mentally happens biologically. If you put your attention on your pinky finger for 5 minutes, you will feel it tingle, warm up, and pulse. Why? Because your attention directs blood flow. Capillaries open. You changed your finger's physiology just with your mind. Now apply this to your organs. If you put your attention on your heart or stomach with gratitude, you send blood, nutrients, and order to that area. You heal. But if you put your attention on your fears, blood leaves your vital organs for your limbs, fight or flight. Your attention manages your metabolic budget. You decide how to invest your blood. The observer is the traffic director of the body's resources. The practice attention diet. To master this chapter, you need to go on a diet, not of food, but of stimuli. For the next 7 days, observe where you put your eyes and mind. Ask the constant question, does this give me energy or take it away? Does watching the news give me power or fear? If fear, turn it off. Does following this person on Instagram inspire me or make me feel envy? If the second, unfollow. Does this complaining conversation with my neighbor build my future or recycle my past? If it recycles, cut it. Be ruthless. You are plugging the leaks of the ship. At first, you will feel a void. The drama-addicted brain will beg for stimuli. Endure the void. In that silence, you will begin to feel your energy level rise. You will feel clarity. You will feel power. That is the energy we will use in the following chapters to bend reality. Chapter 6, the quantum Zeno effect. This is where quantum mechanics becomes counterintuitive and punishes the novice. There is a phenomenon, predicted by Alan Turing and formalized by physicists Misra and Sudarshan in 1977, called the quantum Zeno effect. The statement of the theorem is simple and devastating. An unstable system will never decay if it is observed continuously. In colloquial terms, a watched pot never boils. In physical terms, if you measure a system with enough frequency, you freeze its temporal evolution. You lock it into its current state. Obsessive observation does not accelerate manifestation. It stops it dead in its tracks. In this chapter, we will learn why anxious waiting is the break. We will learn how physics requires an interval of non-observation to allow magic to happen. The physics of paralysis, the collapse as reset. To understand this, let's look inside the atom. Imagine an unstable uranium atom. It is ready to emit radiation and transform into another element. This process of change is not instantaneous at all. It is an evolution of the wave function. The wave of atom A is gradually transforming into the wave of atom B. If you leave the atom alone, the evolution takes its course and the change happens. But what happens if you decide to verify the atom every nanosecond? You look, did you change yet? The atom says, no, I am still A. By measuring it and finding it in state A, you collapse the wave function back to state A. You perform a reset. You turn the counter back to 0. An instant later, you look again. Now, the atom, which had just begun to evolve again, is forced to collapse once more into A. If your measurements are fast enough, the atom becomes immortal. It will never change. You have trapped the system in the eternal present through continuous observation. Repetitive measurement prevents transition. Now, translate this to your desire. You want to manifest money. Your current state is scarcity. Your desired state is abundance. To pass from A to B, the wave needs a time of evolution. It needs latency in the quantum field. It needs to move, organize, and create synchronicities. But you are obsessed. You look at your bank account every hour. You look at your email every 10 minutes. You ask yourself, where is it? 100 times a day. Every time you look at current reality seeking the result and don't see it, you act. You are making a measurement. The question, did it arrive yet, implicitly carries the answer, not yet. By observing the absence of the result, you collapse reality into the state of absence. You perform a reset. You return the wave to 0. You are applying the Zeno effect to your own life. Your obsession is the force that prevents it. You are freezing lack in its place. The state of waiting is a state of not having. The fundamental error is the internal posture of waiting. Many people believe that having faith is sitting around waiting for God or the universe to bring the package. Physically, this is a mistake. Waiting is an active state of observation in the mind. If you are waiting for something, by definition, you are affirming that you do not have it. No one waits for what they already possess. You don't sit around waiting for your shoes, you put them on. When you are in waiting mode, you are emitting a constant frequency of separation. I am here, the object is there, and there is time in between. The Zeno effect captures this frequency of separation and sustains it indefinitely. As long as you keep waiting, you will keep waiting. The universe is a literal mirror. If you project waiting, it reflects waiting. It will give you more waiting time. It will never give you the arrival because arrival is a frequency opposite to waiting. To break the Zeno effect, you have to leave the waiting room. You have to move to the state of it already is. In the state of it already is, you do not compulsively verify external reality because you have no doubt. If you ordered a pizza and fully trust the delivery driver, you watch a movie. You aren't glued to the peephole every second. That time in which you are watching the movie and not guarding the door is the time of non-observation. It is the space of fertile darkness where the wave function can evolve without being disturbed. It is the moment when the atom can decay. It is the moment when the pizza arrives. The metaphor of the seed and the darkness is quite clear. Nature teaches us quantum physics constantly. When you plant a seed, what is the first thing you do? You cover it with soil. You put it in the darkness. Why? Because the seed needs an environment protected from observation, light, to perform its alchemical transformation from seed to sprout. If you apply obsession to your gardening, you fail. If you applied the Zeno effect, you would go every morning, dig up the seed and ask, do you have roots yet? Are you growing? By exposing it to light and disturbing the soil, you kill the process. You stop the evolution. Manifestation needs quantum privacy. It needs an incubation period where you, the observer, withdraw your analytical gaze. You let the intelligence of the field do the dirty work. You have to learn to trust the darkness. You have to feel comfortable knowing that something is happening under the surface, even if your senses see nothing. The novice needs to see to believe, which stops the process. The master knows that not seeing is part of the growth process. Unitary evolution versus projective reduction. In technical terms, there are two processes in quantum mechanics, described by von Neumann. Process U, unitary evolution. The wave flows, expands, explores possibilities. It is smooth, linear, and deterministic. It occurs when we don't look. It is the growth mode. It is the natural flow. Process R, reduction, the abrupt collapse. It occurs when we measure. It is the fixation mode. Life requires a dance between both. You need process R, attention, visualization, to establish the intention. It is planting the seed. You define what you want. But immediately after, you need process U, detachment, trust, to allow the gestation. The problem with obsession is that you try to apply process R all the time. You hit reality with a hammer of constant attention. You do not allow the U flow. You must establish the goal with laser precision and then let go of the control of the details. It is a rhythm, intense focus, total release. Intense focus, total release. Flow. It is pulsation, not constant tension, the vibration of desperation. Let's analyze the electromagnetic signature of obsession. What do you feel when you are obsessed with getting something? Do you feel peace? Do you feel gratitude? No. You feel desperation, urgency, and fear of not getting it. Desperation is a low vibration frequency. It is very powerful but destructive. It screams to the quantum field, "I lack it. I need it now because I cannot be happy without it." The field receives the signal, "I lack," and obediently collapses more lack. The Zeno effect here acts by reinforcing the reality of unmet need. The more you need it, the further you push it away from you. It is like quicksand. The more you struggle and kick, more frantic actions, more mental checks, the more you sink. The only way to get out of quicksand is to relax and spread out to increase the surface area. The only way to manifest is to relax the need. You must reach a psychological point where you want the desire but don't need it. That is the paradox. You can only have it when you are no longer dying to have it. Because when you are no longer dying to have it, you have stopped emitting the signal of lack. You have broken the Zeno effect. The wave is released and flows toward you. Paralysis by analysis. The intellect is the great perpetrator of the Zeno effect today. The intellect wants to know the how. How am I going to get the money? Where will it come from? Will it be through the lottery or a promotion? The intellect analyzes all possible routes, calculates probabilities, and concludes, it is impossible. By constantly analyzing the how, you are observing the limitations of the path you take. You are interfering in the logistics of the universe. The quantum field is an infinite network of non-local probabilities. It has ways of delivering your desire that your logical brain cannot even conceive. But if you insist on understanding and supervising the process step by step, you limit the field to operate only within your mind. And you understand very little. If you watch the mailman, he can only come by the path you watch. If you stop watching, he can come by air, by ground, or teleport. Obsession with the how collapses infinite delivery routes into a single, narrow, and difficult path. Stop micromanaging the universe. Your job is the what, the how is the field. The difference between persistence and obsession. It is vital not to confuse these two terms. In Chapter 5, we talked about sustained attention. Here we talk about not being obsessed. Is it not contradictory? No. The difference is the emotional quality and the frequency of the check. Persistence, constructive. You return to your vision. You return with love and gratitude. You feel it is real. When you finish meditation, you get up feeling whole and go on with your life, trusting that it is already done. You do not compulsively seek external proof because you have internal proof. Obsession, destructive, Zeno. You return with fear. You spend the day seeking signals. You seek them because you don't believe the internal vision. You cannot think of anything else. Your life stops until the desire arrives. You feel a hole in your stomach. Persistence plants and waters. Obsession digs up and screams. Persistence lives in the it already is. Obsession lives in the when will it be. You must choose one. The anti-Zeno effect, acceleration. Curiously, physics also predicts the opposite, the anti-Zeno effect. Under certain conditions, frequent observation can accelerate change. What is the condition? That the observation is aligned with the natural evolution of the system. In human terms, if you observe your process with appreciation, If you celebrate small advances, you accelerate the result. If instead of seeking what is missing, I'm not a millionaire yet, you seek what is already growing, look, I found $10, abundance is flowing, you are collapsing the wave of acceleration. Observing growth makes it grow. Observing lack makes lack grow, stopping growth. The trick is where you put the Zeno focus. Do you use the Zeno effect to freeze the problem or to stabilize the solution? Most use it to freeze the problem through constant complaining. Use your continuous observation to notice only signals of success, however tiny they may be. Freeze success. Make it solid. Make it your new reality now. Protocol. Set it and forget it. The most powerful technique to avoid the obsession trap is the one used by elite archers. The archer takes a long time to draw the bow, aim, measure the wind, and visualize the target. But for the arrow to hit the mark, he has to do something crucial. Release the string. He must release it cleanly today. He must release it without hesitation, without trying to guide the arrow with his hand once it flies. If the archer clings to the string or tries to push the arrow, the shot fails. The moment of release is the moment of trusting physics. Your daily practice must be charge, focus. Spend your meditation time building the image and emotion. Charge the bow, shot, release. Upon finishing, say it is done, feel the click and let go. Forgetfulness, trust. For the rest of the day, do not think about it from lack. If the thought comes, say it is already ordered. And return to your present life. Occupy yourself with other things, enjoy. Enjoyment is the best antidote to Zeno. When you are having a good time, you are not waiting. Time flies, resistance drops. And it is almost always in those moments of happy distraction that the phone rings and the news arrives. The universe slips in when the obsessive bouncer goes to the bathroom. You must let it in, you must be free, you must surrender to the great flow. Chapter 7. Quantum Decoherence. Imagine this scene. You get up at 5 a.m. You do your perfect meditation. You enter the void. You disconnect from your body. You tune into the frequency of abundance and peace. For an hour, you are pure consciousness. You feel invincible. You feel that your new reality is already here. Your wave is coherent, vibrant, and ready to collapse. You open your eyes, you feel great. You leave your room and you see the pile of bills on the kitchen table. You see the damp stain on the wall that you have hated for years. Your partner looks at you with a sleepy face and says something irritating in the same tone as always. You get into your old car that makes that strange noise. In a matter of 10 minutes, that feeling of magic and infinite possibility has evaporated. You feel dense, you feel trapped, you feel realistic again. You are the person of yesterday once more. What happened? Why is magic so fragile? Why does physical reality have that crushing ability to return you to your place? It's not psychological. The answer is physical. You have been a victim of quantum decoherence. In physics, decoherence is the mechanism by which a quantum system, a wave of pure and fluid possibility, loses its magic and becomes a classical system, a solid and boring rock, due to interaction with the environment. The environment acts as a giant observer. The air, the light, the objects, and the people around you are constantly measuring your state. And since the environment is massive and you are small, the environment wins. The environment forces you to collapse, not as you want, but as it expects. In this chapter, we are going to study the enemy. We will see why the world seems so solid. We will learn how to prevent your environment from dissolving your dreams. The physics of fragility, the ghost and the rock. In quantum computing labs, engineers face a titanic problem. They are building computers based on qubits, quantum bits. A normal bit is 0 or 1. A qubit can be 0 and 1 at the same time, superposition. This is power. This gives them almost infinite calculating power. But qubits have a fatal flaw. They are extremely shy. They are hypersensitive. To keep a qubit in superposition, in a state of magic, it must be isolated. It must be in a vacuum chamber at temperatures near absolute zero, protected from any vibration, magnetic field, or a stray photon. Why? Because if a single air particle hits the qubit feels the shock. An information transfer occurs. The environment finds out the state of the qubit. In that micro-instant, the superposition breaks. The quantum magic disappears. The qubit collapses and becomes a normal stupid bit. This is decoherence. It is a leak. It is the leakage of information from the system to the environment. Now you are that qubit. Your new self, the rich, healthy, and happy version you created in meditation, is a delicate quantum state. It is a coherent wave. But you do not live in a vacuum chamber at 273 degrees C. You live in a thermal bath of chaos. You live in a loud place. The moment you step out of your meditation, your wave begins to collide with millions of variables. The light in your house, familiar smells, objects that remind you who you are, people who know you by your old name. Each of these interactions is a measurement the environment makes of you. The environment tells you, I know you. You are Juan, the one with debts and back pain. Collapse there, please. And due to the immense pressure of decoherence, your wave obeys and solidifies into the old pattern. Why does the world seem solid? The illusion of consensus. Decoherence resolves one of the great paradoxes. Why don't we see live and dead cats at once? Why does the moon always seem to be there? Because the environment is constantly looking at it. Even if no human looks at the moon, the sun is bombarding it with photons. The solar wind hits it. These interactions are observations. Information about the moon's position is scattering through the universe at the speed of light. The universe is gossiping about the moon's position all the time. That is why the moon cannot be in superposition, because it is decohering under solidifying trillions of times per second. Solidity is simply the result of extremely fast decoherence. The world seems solid because it is being observed by itself. We live in a consensus reality. The atoms of your table have reached an agreement with the atoms of air and light on where they should be. That agreement is rigid. When you try to perform a miracle, like healing a bone instantly, you are trying to violate the consensus of trillions of particles that have already decided to be solid. You fight against inertia. To change reality, you must be faster or stronger than environmental decoherence. The environmental anchors. Your house is your past. Let's take this to environmental psychology. Your memory is not just in your brain. It is externalized in your environment. This is called extended cognition. Your brain uses objects as post-its. Your brain uses them to remember who you are. You look at your toothbrush. You remember your morning routine. You look at your sofa. You remember your lazy afternoons watching Netflix. You look at the bills. You remember your poor identity. Every object in your house has an associated emotional charge. It measures you, and each object acts as a measuring device that collapses your wave. When you try to change internally, but keep living in the same external environment, you are in an asymmetrical war. Your interior says, I am new, but your exterior screams, you are old. And the exterior is very dense. The visual signal enters directly into your brain. It activates the old automatic neural networks. Before you can think about it consciously, your environment has already activated the neurochemistry of the past. It is very hard to heal in the same environment where you got sick. It is very hard to get rich where you got poor. The environment is a decoherence machine. The social observer. The quantum Pygmalion effect. Here comes the most dangerous factor of decoherence. Other people. The people you live and work with are powerful observers. They have an image of you in their brains. They have an expectation. Your mother expects you to be insecure. Your partner expects you to be messy. They look at you. Your boss expects you to be submissive. Those expectations are not just thoughts. They are intentions of collapse. When you enter a room with your family, they are projecting onto you the wave function of your old self. They are bombarding you with observations that force you to collapse into the identity they know. It is pressure. Have you ever noticed that you may have changed a lot living away, but you return to your parents' house for Christmas, and in 5 minutes you act like a rebellious teenager again? That is not psychological regression. It is quantum collapse pressure. The collective observation field of your family is stronger than your new individual field. They decohere you. They force you to fit into their reality. The Pygmalion effect in psychology says that others' expectations shape our performance. Quantum physics says others' observations shape our material reality. If you are surrounded by people who see you as a failure, You are swimming against a brutal energetic current. Energy. Entropy, the tendency toward disorder. Decoherence is closely linked to entropy, the second law of thermodynamics. Entropy says that every system tends toward disorder and equilibrium. If you put a hot cup of coffee, ordered high energy, in a cold room, it cools down. It mixes with the environment. It loses its uniqueness. It fades. Your new self is a state of high energy and high order, negentropy. Your environment, routine, news, toxic people, is a state of low energy and disorder. Nature wants to balance you. It wants to cool you down. It wants you to be normal. It wants you to be average. Normalcy is the state of maximum entropy. It's where nothing happens. Keeping your dream alive is fighting against thermodynamics. It requires a constant injection of energy, attention, not to dissolve into the lukewarm soup of conformism. Decoherence is simply the universe trying to turn you into part of the landscape. Strategy 1. Strategic isolation. If interaction destroys coherence, what is the solution? Stop interacting, at least temporarily. This is the scientific reason why all great masters, prophets, and geniuses have retreated into solitude. Jesus to the desert, Buddha under the tree, Newton to his farm during the plague. They needed to escape social decoherence to be able to gestate a new reality. They needed a vacuum chamber. When you go on a retreat or on vacation alone to a place where nobody knows you, something wonderful happens. Nobody is observing you as your old self. Strangers do not have a file on you. They do not expect you to be shy or poor. The environment is neutral. There are no memory anchors in the new hotel. In that void, your wave is free. It is much easier to change when nobody knows you. You can try on your new personality without reality hitting you. The quantum master uses strategic isolation. He gets up before anyone else, when the world sleeps and psychic decoherence is low. He locks himself in his room. He creates a bubble of no time and no space for energy. Strategy 2. The sanctuary, the Faraday cage. You can't always go to the Himalayas. You have to live in your house. So you must build a Faraday cage of consciousness. A Faraday cage is a metal mesh that blocks external fields. Inside the cage, there is no radio signal. There is silence. You must create a physical space that is your sanctuary. A corner, a chair, a room. Rules of the sanctuary. 1. In that space, the old self does not enter. 2. Mobile phones, news, and arguments are not allowed. 3. Only the energy of your future is permitted. Over time, that space becomes charged with your new energy. It becomes saturated. The environment inside the sanctuary starts to work for you. When you sit in the meditation chair, your brain automatically connects to the new reality because you have created a positive anchor. You have created a zone free of toxic decoherence. It is your small embassy of heaven on earth. Strategy 3. Hermetic silence. Do not tell your dreams. There is an old maxim. Know, will, dare, and be silent. Why be silent? Why are we told not to tell our desires before they come true? People think it is because of envy or the evil eye. Physically, it is because of decoherence by outside observation. If you have a fragile dream, an incipient wave, and you tell your skeptical friend about it, your friend will look at you with doubt. Be careful. They will think, that is impossible, you can't do that. Even if they don't say it, their brain is emitting a wave of impossibility and collapsing your reality with skepticism. You are inviting a hostile observer to your delicate lab. Their observation interferes with yours, it creates noise. If your faith is not steel, they dissolve it. Keep your projects secret in the gestation phase. Protect them from others' gaze. Let them grow in the dark until they are solid enough, facts, so that others' observation cannot destroy them, but only confirm them. When the tree is already big, the wind strengthens it. When it is a sprout, the wind tears it out. Strategy 4. Field dominance. Sometimes you cannot hide. You have to go to work. You have to deal with traffic. Here the strategy changes. If you cannot avoid the environment, you have to dominate it. In wave physics, the wave with the greatest amplitude, energy, height, is the one that sets the pace. Like two pendulum clocks on the wall, they eventually synchronize. The larger one usually drags the smaller one. You must be the large pendulum. Your coherence, your internal order, your emotional certainty must be energetically superior to the decoherence, the external chaos. You must emit a signal so strong that instead of the environment changing you, you change the environment. Be the source. This is what charismatic leaders and healers do. They walk into a room and their vibe is so strong that the atmosphere of the room changes. People stop being sad and become happy just by resonance. They have defeated environmental decoherence. They have converted the environment to their frequency. To achieve this, you need vital energy. You need energy accumulated through the attention diet. You have to leave home overcharged with light. You have to carry your own climate with you. Out there it may rain, but inside my electromagnetic field it is sunny. If you manage to keep your internal climate independent of the external climate, you become immune to decoherence. The importance of the tribe, collective coherence. If the toxic environment destroys you, a resonant environment empowers you. This is the reason for churches, lodges, sports teams, and mastermind groups. When several people get together with the same intention, they create a field of constructive coherence. Their waves add up together. The amplitude is multiplied by the square. If you meditate alone, you are a battery. If you meditate with 10 people focused on the same thing, you are a power plant. The group acts as a shield against the decoherence of the outside world. Within the group, the new reality is the norm, not the exception. Seek your tribe. Seek people who believe. They will act as allied observers. They will look at you and see your greatness, not your smallness. They will collapse your success with their positive expectation. It is much easier to wake up in a group of awake people than in a cemetery. Changing the furniture, hacking the brain, a final practical trick. If you cannot move house, move. At least move the furniture. Change the layout of your room, buy new sheets, paint a wall, change your route to work. Cut your hair. By changing the sensory information that enters through your eyes, you break the brain's automatic association with the past. You break the recognition pattern of the RS. The brain says, hey, this is new. I don't know where I am. I have to pay attention. That micro window of novelty breaks the habitual decoherence. It creates a crack in the solidity of your life through which the new can enter. Any physical change, no matter how small, helps to unanchor the old identity. Chapter 8. The Subconscious Observer. Imagine you are the captain of a gigantic ocean liner. You are on the bridge looking at the horizon. With your conscious will, you turn the wheel toward the east, toward the land of abundance. You shout the orders, heading east, full speed ahead. You feel good. You have a clear intention. You have the map. But mysteriously the ship keeps going west, toward the storm. You turn the wheel harder, you visualize the east. You make affirmations about the east, and the ship keeps going west. You begin to doubt your sanity. Is the wheel broken? Is it the wind? Does God hate me? No. What is happening is that you are the captain, yes, but you do not move the ship. The ship is moved by the engines in the engine room 5 decks below, and in the engine room there is an autopilot programmed 30 years ago with a single unchangeable instruction, heading west. You are upstairs shouting orders with your tiny conscious voice, but the ship's operating system is executing old code. This is the drama of human existence. There is a civil war between two observers within you. 1. The conscious observer. You. Your analytical mind, your desires, your logic, your self that listens to this audiobook. It represents 5% of your brain activity. 2. The subconscious observer, the machine, your automatic operating system. It represents your habits, traumas, and biological memory. It represents 95% of your brain activity. Quantum physics says that observation collapses reality. The million-dollar question is, which of the two observers has more power to collapse the wave? The answer is brutal. The subconscious wins by a landslide. You can spend 20 minutes a day visualizing wealth, conscious. But if the other 23 hours and 40 minutes your subconscious program is emitting a background signal of, I don't deserve money, that is the signal the quantum field receives. The field does not listen to what you say. It listens to what you are, and you are your subconscious programming. In this chapter, we are going to go down to the engine room. We are going to hack the hidden variable, Einstein's hidden variable. Albert Einstein, in his Resistance to Quantum Uncertainty, proposed the theory of hidden variables. He said that if the universe seemed random, it was only because we were missing data. In human psychology, Einstein was right. Your life is not random. Your bad luck is not random. Your repetitive patterns, always the same type of toxic partner, always the same financial ceiling, are not a curse. They are the result of a hidden variable, your subconscious paradigm. The subconscious is a recorder. It does not judge. It does not think. It has no sense of humor. It simply records and plays back. It is like your computer's operating system. If you have Windows 95 installed, no matter how hard you try to run the latest high-definition video game, the system cannot handle it. It crashes. Your desire for financial freedom is software that is too advanced for your survival and scarcity operating system. That is why every time you try to change, you suffer a system error, anxiety, self-sabotage, and you reset to factory settings. The processing difference, 40 versus 40 million. Let's look at the power disparity in numbers. According to neuroscientists, the conscious mind processes about 40 bits of information per second. It is slow. It gets tired quickly. It is linear. The subconscious mind processes about 40 million bits per second. It is a massive supercomputer. It controls thousands of biological functions at once and monitors the entire environment without rest. It is 1,000,000 times more powerful. When you try to change your life using only willpower, conscious, you're putting a 60-kilo man to sumo wrestle against a 60-ton giant. The man can push for a while, a few days of diet, a week at the gym, but as soon as he gets tired and distracted, the giant crushes him and he returns to his place. This is why New Year's resolutions fail in February. Willpower is a limited resource of the frontal lobe. The subconscious program is an inexhaustible current. The origin of the code, childhood hypnosis. Where did this program that sabotages you come from? Were you born hating money? Were you born believing that love hurts? No. You were born as a blank slate, or almost, except for epigenetics. But from the last trimester of pregnancy until age 7, your brain operated in theta. Theta is the state of hypnosis. It is the state of twilight sleep. Children under 7 do not have an analytical mind, conscious. They have no filter. They cannot say, "What Daddy says is a lie." Everything they see and hear enters directly into the subconscious as an absolute truth. They download the behavior of their parents. If you saw your parents fight over money, your brain recorded money, conflict, danger. If they told you boys don't cry, you recorded expressing emotion, rejection, death. Those recordings became your core belief system. The terrifying part is this: those recordings are not yours. They are the limitations of your parents, your teachers, and your culture. You are living your life operating with other people's software. You are collapsing the reality of your mother or your father, not your own. 95% of your day, when you are distracted, the autopilot takes over and plays the mom or dad record, the cybernetic thermostat, the mechanics of self-sabotage. The primary function of the subconscious is not to make you happy. It is to make you survive. And for the primitive brain, surviving means staying in the known. The known is safe because you have already lived it and haven't died. The unknown is dangerous. The subconscious works like a thermostat. You have a set point for everything, for your weight, for your money, for your happiness. Let's say your financial thermostat is set to earning just enough to survive. Suddenly, you start to visualize. You work hard and boom, you win a large sum of money. The temperature rises above the set point. Does the subconscious rejoice? No. The subconscious detects a deviation error. Alert! We are outside the safe zone. This is unknown. Immediately, it activates correction mechanisms, air conditioning, to lower the temperature. It makes you take a bad investment decision. It makes you spend on something stupid. It makes you get sick so you can't work. It does whatever is necessary to get rid of the excess and return you to your comfort zone, poverty. And when you are broke again, The subconscious says, "Phew, what a relief, we are safe again." This is what we call self-sabotage. But in reality, it is a cybernetic safety mechanism functioning perfectly. You will never permanently exceed your internal thermostat using only external effort. To change your reality, you have to reset the thermostat. You have to convince the subconscious that being rich is the new safety zone. The observer in the shadow. What you repress, you project. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow, all the parts of ourselves that we reject and hide in the basement of the subconscious. Anger, lust, selfishness, vulnerability. We believe that by hiding them, they disappear. Physically, the opposite happens. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. What you repress becomes compressed, it becomes denser. That repressed energy acts as a high-power quantum magnet. Your shadow is a very active observer. It is collapsing realities that force you to face what you hide. If you repress your anger and force yourself to be a good girl, your shadow will collapse violent people or unjust situations into your life that will make you explode. The shadow says, "You don't want to look at me inside, so I will force you to look at me outside." The subconscious externalizes the internal. Shadow work is part of the quantum observer's job. You have to go down to the basement, turn on the light, and embrace the monsters. You have to integrate your darkness. When you accept your shadow, it stops being an autonomous program that sabotages you and becomes pure vital energy available for creation. How is the machine reprogrammed? The language of the subconscious. The great mistake is trying to talk to the subconscious in the language of the conscious. The conscious speaks in logic, words, and future time. The subconscious speaks in images, emotions, and present time. If you say, "I want to be rich next year," the subconscious understands nothing. It ignores it. To reprogram, you have to use the protocols the subconscious understands. There are 3 main doors to enter the engine room. Door 1, hypnosis, theta states. You have to return to the state you were in as a child. This happens naturally twice a day, just upon waking up and just before sleeping. In those moments, the analytical barrier, the logical bouncer, is down. The basement door is open. It is the sacred moment. Never, ever go to sleep thinking about your problems. If you do, you are marinating your subconscious in problems for 8 hours. Use those 10 minutes to listen to affirmations, to visualize your success, or to feel gratitude. What you sow in theta grows in reality. Door 2. Repetition, habituation. How did you learn to drive? At first it was hard, conscious. You had to repeat it 1,000 times until it became automatic, subconscious. The subconscious learns through monotonous repetition. Affirmations work, but not by magic, but by hammering. If you repeat, "I am enough," 500 times a day for 30 days, at first your logical mind will say, "Lie." But if you persist, the logical mind gets tired and lets the message through. A new program changes. Door 3, energy psychology, high emotional impact. The fastest way to learn is through trauma. If you touch a hot stove once, you never touch it again. Instant learning through pain. We can use this to our advantage with high-impact joy. If during your meditation you manage to generate an emotional explosion of ecstasy and gratitude, the signal is so strong that it breaks the old synapse and creates a new one instantly. It is a positive trauma. You give the system a happiness shock so big that the subconscious says, "Wow, this is important. Recording new program now." This is the specialty of Joe Dispenza's teachings. The body is the subconscious. We must reiterate a concept. Your subconscious is not just in the brain, it is in every cell of your body. Your body is your subconscious mind. It has memorized the emotions. Therefore, you cannot reprogram only by thinking. You have to reprogram by feeling. You have to convince the body. If you say, "I am rich," but your stomach is contracted by fear, the body, which is the subconscious, is screaming, "Lie." And the body's signal, 95%, overrides the mind, 5%. Effective reprogramming occurs when the body surrenders and feels the truth of the statement. When you feel a real chill when you cry with joy, that is when the program has entered. You have somatized the new mind. The reality test, the time delay. When you start to reprogram, you enter a dangerous period, the delay. You have installed the new software, but the screen keeps showing the old data for a while. The subconscious is a heavy machine. During this time, you will keep seeing the results of your old program. The danger is that your conscious mind looks at the old results and says, "It's not working." If you do that, you abort the reprogramming. You have to persist in the new program blindly. You have to tell your subconscious, "Keep pushing." Faith is the ability to sustain the new program until the inertia of the old one runs out. Protocol, the night recorder. Here is a practical tool to hack the hidden observer while you sleep. Record your own voice. Your subconscious trusts your voice more than a stranger's. Record a script in present and positive. I am so happy and grateful now that I earn X money. I am a confident and magnetic person. Put some theta wave music in the background. Listen to it every night as you fall asleep. Set it to loop so it plays through the night at very low volume. While you sleep, your subconscious never sleeps. You will be brainwashing yourself. And yes, you need to wash your brain because it is dirty. Total coherence. When the two observers unite. The ultimate goal is alignment. We want the captain and the machine to want the same thing. When you manage to reprogram the subconscious, magic happens. You no longer need willpower. You get up and automatically do what you need to do to succeed. It comes naturally to you. The autopilot takes you to the desired destination without you having to push the wheel. You enter flow state. Friction disappears. Your observation is 100% brain coherence laser. The 5% and the 95% push in the same direction. Before that unified signal, reality collapses instantly. Chapter 9, Probability Amplitude. We have reprogrammed the captain conscious, and we have hacked the machine subconscious. We have the map, and we have the course. However, the ship is still not moving at the speed we desire. What is missing? The fuel is missing. You can have the best navigation system in the world, but if you don't have gas in the tank, you're going nowhere. In the universe of reality creation, thought is the navigation system. It defines direction and form, but the energy that drives the wave collapse, the brute force that solidifies the quantum mist, is emotion. Many students of metaphysics make the mistake of intellectualism. They sit on their sofa, close their eyes and think, "I am rich, I am rich, I am rich." But their body feels nothing. Their heart is a flat line. Or worse, they feel a slight buzz of anxiety in their stomach. They spend months doing this and manifest nothing but frustration. Then they say, "The observer effect doesn't work." What they don't understand is a fundamental law of wave physics. The intensity of a wave is proportional to the square of its amplitude. Without amplitude, the height of the wave, there is no energy. And without energy, there is no impact on matter. In this chapter, we are going to stop seeing emotions as uncontrollable chemical reactions or human weaknesses, and we are going to start seeing them as engineering tools. We are going to learn to turn up the volume of your signal. The Born Rule, the mathematics of reality. To understand why emotion is mandatory, we must look at one of the sacred rules of quantum mechanics, the Born Rule. Formulated by Max Born in 1926, this rule connects the abstract mathematics of the wave function, with physical reality. The wave function itself is just a list of possibilities. It is not real. The Born Rule says that the probability, Bartels, of finding a particle in a specific place is equal to the square of the absolute amplitude of the wave function at that point, I p psi $2. Let's simplify this for your life. Imagine that your desire is a wave in the sea. Thought, the form, determines where the wave is, e.g., I want a new car. Emotion, the amplitude, determines how high the wave is. If you think about the new car but feel nothing, indifference, you are creating a small ripple in the water, barely a millimeter high. The probability of that micro ripple moving reality is almost zero. It is background noise, but if you think of the new car and feel an explosive euphoria, a gratitude that makes you cry and a total certainty, you are increasing the amplitude. You are turning the ripple into a 30-meter tsunami. According to the Born Rule, by raising the amplitude, you raise the probability to the square. You make the event statistically inevitable. The quantum field does not respond to flat waves. It responds to energy peaks. Emotion is what gives weight and density to thought. The secret of feeling. Emotion is energy in motion. The word emotion comes from the Latin emotio, which means movement, impulse. It is energy in motion, emotion. Thought is electrical. Emotion is magnetic. When you combine a moving electrical charge, you create an electromagnetic field. And it is the electromagnetic field that interacts with atoms. Think of it this way. Thought sends the signal to the universe. I want this. Emotion attracts the event to you. Come here. If you only think, you are sending emails non-stop, but you don't have a mailbox to receive the reply. If you only feel, emotion without intention, you are a chaotic energy bomb without direction. The quantum master joins clear intention, brain, with elevated emotion, heart. When those two centers synchronize, they create a unique electromagnetic signature. It's like a radio station. The intention is the song playing. The emotion is the carrier wave that transmits the signal through the air. Without the carrier wave, the song, thought, does not leave the studio. It stays locked in your skull. That is why cold affirmations do not work. I am abundant. I am abundant. If there is no carrier wave, that information does not reach the field. It is just mental noise. Creation emotions versus survival emotions. Not all emotions serve to create the future. We must distinguish between two types of fuel. Survival emotions, low frequency, contraction, fear, anger, guilt, shame, sadness, anxiety. These emotions are dense. They cause your energy field to contract. They turn you into more particle and less wave. Biologically, they serve to protect you from an immediate threat. Energetically, they disconnect you from the unified field. They isolate you. If you try to manifest from need, which is a form of fear, you are emitting a signal of I don't have. You are collapsing the absence. You are using energy to reinforce the wall that separates you from your desire. Creation emotions, high frequency, expansion. Gratitude, love, joy, inspiration, awe, freedom, peace. These emotions are light. They cause your field to expand several meters outside your body. They turn you into more wave and less particle. They connect you with the field. They make you magnetic. When you are in gratitude, there are no barriers. You are in a state of reception. These are the only emotions that have the amplitude needed to collapse new positive realities. The great deception. I will feel when Here is the trap that keeps humanity enslaved. Newtonian conditioning. The Newtonian model of cause and effect says, first, the external event must occur, cause, and then I will feel the internal emotion, effect. You wait for the money to arrive to feel abundant. You wait for the partner to arrive to feel love. You wait for the body to heal to feel gratitude. You live reacting to the environment. If your environment is bad, you feel bad. If your environment doesn't change, your emotion doesn't change. And since your emotion doesn't change, your reality doesn't change. Because you aren't emitting a new signal, it's a perfect vicious circle. The quantum observer breaks this circle by inverting the equation. You must cause an effect. You must feel the emotion of the future before the event occurs. You must feel abundance with your empty account. You must feel health with your sick body. You must feel love while being alone in your room. Why? Because the quantum field does not work in linear time. It does not know that the event has not physically occurred yet. If you generate the chemical and magnetic signature of gratitude right now, the field reads that signal and says, the event has already occurred. And since the field must be coherent with the signal, it is forced to precipitate the physical event to match your internal state. Emotion is the bridge that brings the future into the present. Gratitude, the ultimate signature of the receiver. Of all emotions, gratitude is the most powerful for wave collapse. Analyze it logically. When do you give thanks? You give thanks when you have received something. Gratitude is the biological signal that the transaction has been completed. If you close your eyes and manage to feel a genuine, deep and visceral gratitude for your healing, your body, which is the subconscious, believes that you are already healed. It stops producing stress hormones and starts producing repair hormones. And the universe receives the signal, transaction completed. It does not receive the signal of, please give me, supplication, lack. It receives the signal of, thank you, I already have it, faith, possession. Supplication pushes the miracle away. Gratitude magnetizes it. The quantum master lives in a state of perpetual gratitude for things that have not yet happened. He gives thanks in advance. And that anticipated gratitude is the force that pulls the future toward the now. Generating amplitude from nothing, the internal reactor. The skeptic will say, "How can I feel joy if my life is a disaster?" That is self-deception. It's not self-deception, it's self-control. You are capable of remembering a sad moment from the past and crying right now, aren't you? You are generating real chemistry based on a mental image. You have the physiological capacity to generate any emotion at will. The problem is that you only practice generating the bad ones. You have to train your emotional muscle. You have to become a nuclear reactor of emotion. You don't need external coal events to burn. You can start the chain reaction internally. Exercise, put on epic or inspiring music. Music is a great catalyst for amplitude. Close your eyes. Start smiling physically. This tricks the brain. Open your chest. Breathe deeply. Bring the image of your fulfilled desire. Now don't just look at it, turn up the volume. Demand that your heart opens. Intensify the color of the image. Intensify the sensation. Breathe harder. Feel the energy rise through your spine. You have to reach a point of crescendo. A point where the emotion is so strong it almost hurts, so strong that tears well up, so strong your hair stands on end. That goosebumps moment is the signal that you have reached high amplitude. You have generated a shockwave in the fabric of space-time. That is the moment of collapse. Magnetic hysteresis, sustaining the charge. In materials physics, there is a concept called hysteresis. If you take a piece of iron and apply a strong magnetic field, the iron becomes magnetized. If you withdraw the external field, the iron maintains a part of that magnetism for a time. This is what we want to achieve with you. It's useless to generate a high amplitude during 5 minutes of meditation if you then spend 15 hours in anxiety. The goal is to magnetize your body and sustain the charge. You have to carry that elevated emotion with you during the day, not with the same explosive intensity, that would be exhausting, but as a background hum, a feeling of secret wisdom, an internal smile. When you walk down the street feeling that wealthy security or that full love for no apparent reason, you become irresistible. People look at you and don't know why. Animals approach you. Opportunities find you. You are glowing in the invisible spectrum. Your amplitude is high. You are a radio station transmitting at 50,000 watts in a world of people transmitting at 5 watts. By pure physics, your signal dominates the environment. The danger of volatility. Coherence versus drama. An important technical warning. High amplitude does not mean drama or hysteria. Many people confuse emotional intensity with chaos. Screaming, crying in desperation, or having manic euphoria are states of high amplitude but low coherence. They are giant but disordered waves. Noise. What we seek is high amplitude and high coherence. We want a laser wave. We want an emotion that is intense but stable, ordered and rhythmic. It's the difference between an explosion, chaos, and a jet engine, directed power. The right emotion feels like power in peace. It feels like an immovable certainty. It is a quiet but deep joy that resonates in the center of your chest, not a nervous agitation in your head. Drama wears you out. Coherence regenerates. The chemical signature of the future. Your body is the laboratory where reality is processed. For the observer effect to be permanent, you must trick the body completely. You must give it the chemical signature of the future. If you want to be a healthy and athletic person, that version of you produces a specific chemistry, endorphins, dopamine, low cortisol levels. If you want to be a wealthy and powerful person, that version produces another chemistry, testosterone, serotonin, oxytocin of security. Your job is to synthesize those drugs now. When you manage to feel exactly as your future self will feel, your body stops living in the linear present. Your body enters the future, and since the body is matter, it begins to pull the rest of matter, your environment, toward that future. This explains spontaneous healings. The person generated an emotional amplitude of perfect health, so high that the body had no choice but to obey and reorganize tissues in a matter of hours to match the new signal. Matter always follows energy. Energy is the boss. The heart blockage, the glass wall. Many students reach this point and say, "I try, but I can't feel. My heart is blocked." They have a wall around their heart. They have been hurt in the past. Their subconscious has decided that feeling is dangerous. Therefore, every time they try to turn up the amplitude to feel love or gratitude, the defense system shuts it down. They stay cold. If this is your case, you cannot force the door. You have to melt the wall. Start with neutral or soft emotions. Don't try to jump from depression to ecstasy. It's too far. The system will collapse. Use the emotional ladder. From depression to relief. From relief to hope. From hope to appreciation. From appreciation to gratitude. From gratitude to ecstasy. Start by appreciating small things. Hot coffee, a soft bed, a dog's smile. Practice turning up the volume on those small things. Train your heart so it knows it is safe to feel. Little by little, you will regain your ability to generate high amplitude. It is an atrophied muscle. It requires emotional physical therapy. The master equation of manifestation. Let's summarize the physical formula we have built so far. First, Jargamar, Yansi.e, Talos, where see Talos collapse, manifestation. Chaosti intention, clear thought, electrical focus. Ka emotion, elevated amplitude, magnetic focus. Tati time, duration of focus without negative Zeno effect. If I $10, you're very clear about what you want, but $0, you feel nothing. The result is zero. If I $0, you don't know what you want, and $10, you have a lot of energy but no direction. The result is chaos. You need both factors to be high and sustained over time. This is reality engineering. It's not luck, it's math. The mirror test. How do you know if you're doing it right? Do the emotional mirror test. Look at yourself in the mirror and say your affirmation, "I am financially free." And immediately observe what your body feels. Is there a contraction? Is there a voice saying lie? Is there fear? If so, your amplitude is negative. You are manifesting the opposite. You have to work until you can say the phrase and feel an expansion, a warmth, a yes, until the truth of the emotion is greater than the truth of the environment. When you achieve that, the physical world has no chance. It has to yield. Chapter 10, Interference Protocols. There is something called the normal probability distribution, the Gaussian curve. Reality tends toward the average. It tends toward the predictable. It tends toward mediocrity. If you flip a coin 1,000 times, the result tends to be 50-50. If you live your life on autopilot, your days tend to be a repetition of the average of your past. The miracle, by definition, is a statistically improbable event. It is an event that lives at the far ends of the probability curve, the tails of the bell. The work of the quantum observer is not to wait for luck to bring that improbable event. Your job is to interfere with the signal to bend the curve. Your job is to manipulate the statistics so that the impossible becomes probable. In physics, interference is what happens when two waves meet. It can be constructive. They add up and create a giant wave, or destructive. They subtract from each other and create silence. Most people live under constant destructive interference. Their desire for the future crashes against their belief in the past, and they cancel each other out. Result, flatline, stagnant life. In this chapter, I'm going to hand you the interference protocols. These are techniques designed to hack decoherence, break the loop of the past, and inject a new signal with such force that the quantum field has no choice but to reorganize around it. We are no longer passive observers. We are signal engineers. The principle of probability density. To materialize an object from the quantum field, you need to accumulate density. Imagine reality as a 3D printer. The printer needs material to build the object layer by layer. In the quantum world, that material is focused attention. A fleeting thought, "I want to be rich," is a layer 1 nanometer thick. It is invisible. It dissolves with the wind. To make the object solid and tangible in 3D, you need to overlap thousands of layers of that same thought, one on top of another, without interruption and without contradiction. This creates probability density. You make the wave so heavy that it falls by its own weight into the material world. The problem is that the average human prints one layer of wealth and then prints 10 layers of complaint on top of it. And then a layer of doubt. The result is a shapeless blur. There is no structure. The protocols that follow are designed to guarantee a clean and dense print. Protocol 1. Pattern interruption, the signal jammer. Your brain is a loop machine. If you wake up and follow the usual routine, you are running the oldlife.exe program. The universe receives the signal of old life and returns old life to you. To insert a new reality, you first have to stop the transmission of the old one. You need a jammer, a signal inhibitor. The moment you detect you are entering an automatic loop, negative thoughts, habitual emotional reactions, complaints, you must execute a physical pattern interruption. It is not enough to try to think positive. That is weak. You need a biological shock. The technique. When you catch yourself being the old you, 1. Change your physiology radically. Stand up suddenly. Shake your body. Give a loud clap. Shout, cut. 2. Change the setting. Leave the room. If you are driving, roll down the window to let the air hit you. 3. Break the breath. Take 3 quick, strong exhalations through the mouth. What do you achieve with this? You knock the brain out of its neural track. You deactivate the neural network that was firing. You create a space of electrical silence, a window of opportunity. In that silence, you immediately insert the command for the new you. I am not that person. I am the creator. I choose peace. If you do not interrupt the pattern physically, the chemical inertia is too strong. You have to be violent with your old self to protect your new self. Protocol 2. The standing wave, the 68-second rule. Physicists know that if you maintain a constant vibration in a medium, a standing wave is created. A wave that does not dissipate, but rather self-reinforces and gains amplitude. In the world of manifestation, there is a critical time threshold to create this mental standing wave. It is estimated at 17 seconds. If you manage to hold a pure thought and emotion, without contradiction, without doubt, for 17 seconds, that wave reaches the ignition point. It begins to attract other identical thoughts. If you manage to hold it for 4 blocks of 17 seconds, total 68 seconds, the wave reaches enough density to start affecting physical matter. It seems like a short time, doesn't it? A little over a minute, but try it. Try to think only about abundance for 68 seconds without a thought of, but I have debts, or how will I do it, crossing your mind. It is extremely difficult. The monkey brain jumps. When doubt enters at second 10, it breaks the standing wave. You have to start from 0. The protocol. Dedicate 5 minutes a day to building blocks of purity. Take a stopwatch. Close your eyes. Focus on your desire. Feel the joy. If an intrusive thought enters, stop the stopwatch. Reset. Train your mind until you can hold the pure note for 68 seconds straight. That minute of purity is worth more than 24 hours of mediocre thinking. It is a laser cutting through reality. Protocol 3. Quantum rehearsal. Olympic athletes use this. It is called motor visualization. It has been proven that if a pianist imagines playing a piece, the same brain regions are activated as if they were actually playing it. But quantum rehearsal goes beyond mental practice. It is not about rehearsing to do it well. It is about rehearsing to remember it. Recall Chapter 4. We only see what we remember. Memory. If you want to see a new future, you have to create an artificial memory in your brain so your RAS recognizes it and lets it through. The technique. Do not visualize yourself achieving the goal the moment of triumph. Visualize yourself being the person who achieved it a long time ago. Visualize the boring routine of your successful self. How does the millionaire you brush their teeth? Calmly, without rushing. How do they walk? How do they breathe? How do they treat the waiter? Rehearse daily scenes. Imagine meeting an old friend and telling them, "Yes, business is going great. I'm very at peace." Feel the naturalness of that conversation. By rehearsing the normalcy of your success, you take it off the pedestal. You make it accessible. You tell your brain, "This is normal for us." When you open your eyes, your brain begins to look for that normalcy in the outside world and starts to collapse the opportunities that match it. Protocol 4. Environmental constructive interference, totems. We already saw in Chapter 7 that the environment causes decoherence. It returns you to the old self. We are going to hack the environment so it causes positive decoherence. We are going to seed your physical reality with totems or triggers that remind you of your wave nature. In the movie Inception, characters use an object, a totem, to know if they are dreaming or awake. You need totems to know if you are asleep, in the matrix, or awake, in the field. The technique: choose physical objects that symbolize your new reality. It could be a gold pen, a specific stone, a wallpaper on your phone, or a ring. Assign an anchoring intention to that object. Every time I touch this ring, I remember that I am abundant. Every time I see this wallpaper, I remember that I am healthy. Place these signal repeaters all over your house and office. At first, it is a mental game, but through Pavlovian conditioning over time, the simple act of touching the ring will fire the chemistry of abundance in your body. You are using matter to hack the mind. You are turning your environment into an ally that observes you as the new person. Protocol 5. The white noise tuner, the noise paradox. Information theory tells us that to transmit a clear signal, you need to eliminate noise, but in stochastic, random systems, sometimes adding a little noise helps detect a weak signal. This is called stochastic resonance, translated to your life. Sometimes your obsession with perfection in manifestation creates resistance. You try to control the process so much that you suffocate it. You need to introduce a bit of controlled chaos to let go of rigidity. The technique: do things that have no logical sense for your goal. Play, dance, doodle, walk aimlessly. By introducing random and pleasurable activities, you take the brain out of analytical, obsessive mode, high beta, and drop it down to alpha. In that relaxed state, the signal of your intention flows better. The universe loves the playful. Seriousness is dense and slow. Joy is fast and fluid. If you are stuck in your manifestation, stop trying to manifest and go play tennis or paint. Break the rigidity of the wave. Allow the field to reorganize. Managing the lag, the hysteresis of reality. This is the point where 90% of dreams die. You apply the protocols, you do the work, and the outside reality does not change. Or worse, it temporarily worsens, the chaos of restructuring. There is a latency time, lag, between the change of the wave and the change of the particle. It is like the echo in a canyon. You shout hello and the echo takes 3 seconds to return. Right now you are living in the echo of your shouts, thoughts, from a year ago. If today you shout, I am rich, the immediate echo you hear is still, I am poor, because it is the old echo returning. The novice hears the old echo and says, see, it doesn't work, I'm still poor. And in saying that, they shout, I am poor again, perpetuating the cycle. The lag management protocol. When you look at your current reality and do not like it, mentally label it as the echo. Say, this that I see is not my present. It is the wake of my past. It is a dead star. It no longer has power over me. And then persist in your new signal. You have to shout, I am rich, and hear the echo of I am poor, without flinching, knowing it is only a matter of physics for the echo to change. You have to maintain the new signal long enough for the old echo to die out and the new one to start arriving. How long? Nobody knows. It could be a day or a month. That is the test of faith. Faith is holding the frequency during the lag. The collective wave collapse, navigating among muggles. You live surrounded by people who do not know these protocols. They are collapsing a reality of fear, crisis, and disease. Their waves interfere with yours. How do you protect yourself? You cannot isolate yourself in a cave forever. You have to learn quantum aikido. When someone comes to collapse a negative reality upon you, the economy is terrible, you're going to fail, do not fight their wave. If you fight, argue, you give it energy. You enter into entanglement with their reality. Instead, let their wave pass through you without touching you. It is called transparency. Listen to them, smile, and say internally, "Interesting point of view, but it is not my reality." Do not accept the poisoned gift. Keep your own standing wave so strong that theirs bounces off. Remember, reality always collapses in favor of the observer with the greatest certainty. If they have more certainty in their fear than you have in your hope, they win. They drag you into their crisis. If you have more certainty in your vision than they have in their news, you win. You drag them into your opportunity. It is a battle of certainties. The act as if method acting. Konstantin Stanislavski developed a method for actors that is pure applied quantum physics. He did not ask actors to fake emotions. He asked them to look for emotive memory, to really feel the character's emotion. If the character is sad, the actor remembers the death of their dog and cries real tears. You are the actor of your life. The script says the protagonist is a millionaire. You cannot go out on stage and fake being a millionaire, buying things you can't afford. That is false, and the audience, the universe, will boo you. You have to use the Stanislavski method. You have to find the vibratory essence of being a millionaire. What does it feel like? Freedom, security, generosity. Start acting with generosity and security now with what you have. Give a slightly larger tip. Walk with your back straight. Do not look at the prices on the menu with fear, but with decision. Generate the real vibration in your body. The universe, which is the director of the play, will see your performance as so authentic that it will say, "Wow, this actor believes the role. Let's change the set to match their performance." And it will bring you the setting of wealth, first the being, then the having. Protocol 6. Selective gratitude, the amplifier. Most people scam their reality looking for errors. Fix-it mentality. What is wrong? What am I missing? What do I have to fix? In doing this, you collapse more errors. The final interference protocol is the success scan. At the end of the day, take a notebook. Force your brain to find 5 things where the observer effect worked in your favor. Today I found parking quickly. Today I was treated to a coffee. Today I felt good for an hour. It doesn't matter how small they are. By writing them down and feeling them, you are validating the process. You are telling the field, "Yes, this, I want more of this." You are amplifying the success signal. Where you put attention, energy flows. If you put attention on small successes, they become big successes. It is the snowball effect. The ethics of interference. Do not manipulate others. A vital warning. These protocols are for changing your reality. Do not try to use them to manipulate the specific will of another person. I want person X to fall in love with me. That is black magic. It is energetic violation. And in physics, every action has an opposite reaction. Karma will hit you back. If you want love, collapse the wave of a perfect and loving relationship and let the universe put the face of the person who fits best. It could be X or someone better. Do not interfere in the free will of other observers. Interfere in your own frequency, and the right observers will approach you by resonance. Conclusion, the final leap. The data transmission has concluded. We have traveled a long way together, from the mechanical certainties of Isaac Newton to the dizzying abyss of Heisenberg's uncertainty. We have dismantled, piece by piece, the illusion that you live in a solid, objective, and indifferent world. We have looked through the microscope and seen that matter is only frozen light, and we have looked through the telescope to discover that the universe is not a machine, but a great mind. You now possess the most dangerous and liberating knowledge a human being can hold. You are not an inhabitant of the universe. You are the universe observing itself. But here on the threshold of the end of this book, you face your greatest danger. The danger is intellectualism. It is very easy to listen to these hours of audio, nod your head, feel a brief spark of inspiration, and say, "How interesting, quantum physics says I create my reality." And then, turn off the audio, get up, and go back to reacting with anger to traffic, back to feeling fear because of the news, and back to defining yourself by your memories of the past. If you do that, this knowledge will be of no use to you. In fact, it will hurt you because now you will know that you are responsible for your suffering, yet you will continue to choose it. Ignorance was a blessing. Half-consciousness is a torture. The purpose of this book is not to fill your head with data, so that you can be the smartest at a dinner with friends. The purpose is to initiate a biological metamorphosis. Quantum physics is not something you study, it is something you are. You cannot do quantum, you have to be quantum. And to be quantum, you have to take the final leap. You have to bring the knowledge down from the brain, the philosophy, to the body, the experience. The end of the victim, a necessary death. To be born as the conscious observer, the old you has to die. There is no negotiation possible. You cannot take your old identity into the new reality. You cannot enter the field of infinite potential dragging your suitcase of poor me. It's just that my childhood was hard. It's just that the economy is bad. Those stories are lead anchors. They are fossilized observations that tie you to the dead timeline. Assuming the power of the observer effect requires radical responsibility. It means accepting, without guilt, but with total clarity, that everything in your life today, the good, the bad, and the ugly, is a wave collapse that you have authorized, whether by conscious intention or unconscious omission. You collapsed your loneliness. You collapsed your scarcity. You collapsed your illness. This sounds harsh. The ego hates to hear this. The ego prefers to say it was luck or the government. But in this harshness lies your liberation, because if you created it, even while asleep, you can uncreate it, now that you are awake. If the projector is yours, you can change the movie at any time. The moment you stop looking for culprits outside is the moment you reclaim 100% of your attentional energy to build the future. Living in the state of superposition, the walker of two worlds. The final challenge is to live daily life while maintaining multidimensional consciousness. How do you pay taxes, go to the supermarket, and raise children without falling into amnesia, without forgetting that everything is an illusion? You must become a walker of two worlds. You must learn to operate in the particle and in the wave simultaneously. Physically, you respect matter. If you hit your finger with a hammer, it hurts. If you don't eat, you are hungry. You respect Newton's laws for your biological avatar. But mentally and emotionally, you live in the wave. When you see a solid problem, a debt, a diagnosis, you do not let yourself be hypnotized by its solidity. You look at it and say, "This looks real, but I know it is only energy condensed by my past observation. It is an echo. If I change my observation, this will dissolve." You walk through the world with a secret smile, the smile of one who knows that the stage is made of papier-mâché. You become lucid within the dream. Most people are sleepwalkers. They react to the dream as if it were real, suffer nightmares, and scream. You are the lucid dreamer. You know you are dreaming. And because you know you dream, you can fly, you can change the script, you can wake up inside the nightmare and turn it into an adventure. Love is physics, the master frequency. We have talked a lot about science, wave collapse, and frequencies, but if we had to summarize the physics of creation in a single word, that word would not be energy or attention, it would be love. And I am not talking about romantic or sentimental love. I'm talking about love as the frequency of union. In physics, separation is the illusion. Quantum entanglement tells us that, at the core, everything is united. Love is the biological experience of that entanglement. When you love something, the distance between the observer and the observed disappears. You become one with it. When you love your future, you bring it toward you. When you love life, life loves you back, because the mirror has no other option. Fear is the frequency of separation, fragmentation. Love is the frequency of unification, coherence. The supreme observer does not observe with the cold analytical mind, they observe with the coherent heart. An observation charged with love is an irresistible command for the quantum field. If you want to accelerate your manifestations, stop trying to get them and start loving them. Love your money before you have it. Love your health before you see it. Love is the glue that joins the wave and turns it into a particle. The legacy, the quantum butterfly effect. Perhaps you think this work is selfish, that it is only about getting your car, your house, and your success, but the physics of entanglement reveals a higher mission. You are not separate from the human race. We share a morphogenetic field. We share a collective mind. When you change the field. When you overcome your fear and collapse a reality of courage, you make it a little easier for the rest of humanity to be brave. You are clearing a path in the weeds of the collective consciousness. Your healing is not private. It is a public service. By raising your frequency, you raise the vibrational average of the planet. You become an antenna that radiates order in the midst of chaos. When you enter a room full of peace and coherence, you heal those around you without saying a word, simply by magnetic induction. The world does not need more politicians, nor more opinions, nor more noise. The world needs more coherent observers. It needs people who are capable of looking at the current chaos, war, crisis, and pain, and refusing to collapse it. People capable of holding the vision of a new world with such firmness that the old world dissolves before their eyes. That is the true function of the Messiah, the Avatar, the Buddha. It is not someone who comes to save you. It is someone who observes perfection in you until you yourself believe it and heal. You are called to be that observer for your family, for your community, and for the world. The last experiment. Your life is the laboratory. The book ends here, but the experiment has just begun. I leave you with a challenge. Do not believe me. Do not believe a single word of what I have said. Blind belief is superstition. I want you to have knowledge. And knowledge comes from empirical proof. I challenge you to dedicate the next 30 days to testing this with the rigor of a scientist. Choose one thing, one single thing that seems impossible or stuck in your life, and apply the protocols. 1. Withdraw your attention from the current reality. Stop talking about the problem, stop complaining, starve it. 2. Design the new wave. Clearly define what you want and above all how it feels to have it. 3. Collapse the wave daily. Enter meditation, enter the void, and observe that reality with elevated emotion and anticipated gratitude. Hold the image. 4. Walk as if it were real. During the day, live in the it already is. Act, walk, and speak from that new identity. 5. Release control. Do not watch the how. Let the universe surprise you. Do it radically. Do it without excuses. If you do it, I promise you that reality will yield. Coincidences will appear. Synchronicities will hit you in the face. The improbable will happen. And when that occurs, when you see that your mind has moved matter, you will no longer need books or gurus or audios. You will know. You will know that you are powerful. You will know that you were never a victim. You will know that you are the creator. The universe is a soup of waves waiting for your command. The brush is in your hand. The canvas is infinite. The paint is your attention. What are you going to paint today? Thank you for listening.